Chapter 398. The Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure released a burst of light that completely enveloped him and quickly poured into his body. After a while, the light disappeared. After the light disappeared, Etianyan immediately felt that he had merged with the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure and was able to control its power at any time. This situation stunned him. He didn't expect such a situation to occur. It was a bit beyond his expectations. He had just touched the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, and he did not even drip his blood on it. What's going on? Etianyan asked in confusion. Big brother, you've successfully acknowledged me as your master. How did you do it? Rinjiro hurried over, her eyes filled with shock. I don't know, Etianyan said helplessly. He just wanted to touch the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure and feel its energy flow. Why don't you give it a try and see if you can really control it? Rinjiro said. Etianyan nodded and immediately stretched out his hand. The Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure released a burst of light that instantly enveloped him and formed an indestructible shield around his body. He can really control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. It's incredible. Rinjiro was stunned. Although she knew that the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure had recognized him as its master, she was still shocked when she saw that he could actually control it. Prime Minister Long had the bloodline of the Heavenly Dragon, but he could not control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. How could an outsider like Etianyan be able to recognize him as its master? Is it the bloodline of the Dragon God? Etianyan immediately thought that it was the bloodline of the Dragon God. If it was not the bloodline of the Dragon God, he could not think of any other reason. When he killed the Heavenly Dragon skeleton, he gained experience points and the bloodline of the Dragon God. This meant that the bloodline of the Dragon God was the dominant bloodline power, which was equivalent to the supreme bloodline of the Dragon clan. How could it not be able to control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure? Especially now that the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure had reached the 5th level, although it was not full, the concentration was already very high. It was impossible for the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure to not have a high concentration. While he was guessing, Rinjiro smiled and said, "This is really amazing. If I tell my brother, he will definitely be shocked. According to this rule, Big Brother, you are really a citizen of our Heavenly Dragon Empire. In this way, the three of them will be able to control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure and release more power." You can control 3 at the same time? Won't this disperse the power? Etianyan asked in confusion. Of course not. We can't unleash the full power of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. We can only unleash a small portion of its power. It's probably because we're not strong enough to unleash its full potential. If we were stronger, or if our bloodline power was stronger, the effect would be different, Rinjiro said with a smile. Etianyan nodded. That was the right way of thinking. It was the same as how ordinary cultivators wielded weapons. If one's cultivation base was too low, using sacred artifacts or soul artifacts would not allow them to unleash their full power. They would only be able to unleash a small portion of their power. That's unexpected. I'm just here to take a look. Etianyan shook his head. Isn't this good? It proves that you really belong to our Heavenly Dragon Empire, Rinjiro said with a sweet smile. I'll talk to my big brother first. With the 3 of us controlling the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, we will be able to stabilize the situation. Etianyan nodded and walked out with Rinjiro. However, he didn't go out with Rinjiro. He planned to stay here, because he has no right to manage the affairs of the Imperial Court. Rinjiro and the others can handle these things. He didn't want to listen to them. I almost forgot, I still have the 4th grade Dragon God bloodline. I don't know how much EXP I can get from it. Etianyan almost forgot about this. He got the Dragon God bloodline from killing General Long, so he could level up his Dragon God bloodline. Now that he got the 4th grade Dragon God bloodline, he won't be able to level up his Dragon God bloodline. Successfully integrated Dragon God bloodline 4th grade. Gained 1 million EXP. Along with the sound, he successfully obtained 1 million EXP, which was only 1/5 of the total EXP. To level up from 5th grade to 6th grade, he needed 5 million crazy point. With his current crazy point, he can definitely level up. It's just that he wants to level up crazy mode. That's the most fundamental power. There are too many things that can be used to increase his crazy mode. Not bad, 1 million EXP, 1 million less EXP. Tianyan is very satisfied, so he thinks this is already very good. Then he continued to draw the lottery. He got a chance to draw the lottery, of course he won't miss it. After activating Luck Aura, the needle began to spin rapidly, and soon it stopped at the consumable item. I activated Luck Aura, and it's still consumable item. Tianyan felt speechless. Along with a thud sound, a jade box fell into the inventory. After opening it, a system notification sounded. Ding, congratulations on successfully getting 30x EXP card. Not bad, 30x EXP card. Tianyan smacked his lips. It's not bad, it's better than giving EXP pill. Using 30x EXP card on a Void Spirit Stage Cultivator is amazing. It's just that the price is too expensive. He doesn't want to buy it. After all, he wants to level up crazy mode. After the lucky draw, he had nothing else to do. It was meaningless to just stay there. While I still have time, I'll go to the auction house to see if there's any soul accumulating grass for sale. Tianyan felt that he has nothing to do, so he flew to the Imperial City without saying anything. Before he flew out, he saw that there was a heated discussion inside the palace, but he didn't want to get involved. Soon he found a treasure shop outside the Imperial City. The name is very bold. Heavenly Dragon Treasure Shop. It was not opened by the Heavenly Dragon Empire itself. It was just a name borrowed from the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Along the way there were many similar shops such as Heavenly Dragon Sesame Cake, Heavenly Dragon Weapon Shop, etc. As soon as he entered, someone immediately came up to him with a sweet smile on her face. "What can I do for you, young master?" The female attendant came over and said, "Do you have soul accumulating grass here? I want it." Tianyan asked directly, "Soul accumulating grass? I'm sorry, we don't have soul accumulating grass here." The female attendant said apologetically, "No soul accumulating grass." Tianyan shook his head. It seems that this thing is too rare. When he was about to leave, a middle-aged man came over and whispered, "Brother, I have soul accumulating grass, do you want it?" Chapter 399. You have a soul accumulating grass? Tianyan asked doubtfully. Yes, I have a soul accumulating grass. Coincidentally, there is a stock of soul accumulating grass. Follow me, it is absolutely true. The middle-aged man looked a bit wretched and did not seem very trustworthy. However, Tianyan still followed him out. Even if he was a swindler, he wanted to see how he was going to trick him. When he was brought to a corner by the wretched man, he quickly took out a stalk of soul accumulating grass. There was also a small red crystal on top of the soul accumulating grass. After he saw it, he quickly took off the crystal and casually threw it to the side. However, Tianyan quickly caught the small crystal. "Sorry, I didn't expect there to be a stone inside. Are you interested in this?" The wretched man asked doubtfully. "I am a bit interested. Where did you get this stone?" Tianyan picked up the red crystal and showed it to him. "This thing. I probably brought it with me when I picked the soul accumulating grass." The wretched man rolled his eyes and said, "You want to know where it is?" "Not really. Compared to this, I want to know where you found the soul accumulating grass." Tianyan calmly threw the stone to the side. It fell to the ground like a beautiful red stone that no one wanted. The wretched man revealed a disappointed expression, but quickly recovered. He smiled and said, "If you want to know, then I can take you there later. But do you want to buy this soul accumulating grass? The price is definitely not expensive. You only need to give me 1 million spirit stones." The soul accumulating grass in front of him was indeed a genuine soul accumulating grass. Even the appraisal I could detect it. However, it was picked before it matured, so its effect would be greatly reduced. This was truly a waste of natural resources. However, by the time it slowly matured, it would probably have been picked by others. It would take too long. 500,000 spirit stones, one price. Tianyan said indifferently. You wanted to go to the Heavenly Dragon Treasure Pavilion to sell it, right? I think the price given by these pavilions would definitely be very low. Under normal circumstances, It would be good if they could give you 300,000. Although the soul accumulating grass is rare, it would not be so expensive. The remaining 200,000 taels can be considered as your travel expenses. The soul accumulating grass was very rare, but it did not mean that there was a market for it. Its effect was still limited. Even with such a high price, he could only increase the effect by a little. No one else would be willing to do that. It seems that this gentleman knows his stuff. All right then, 500,000 taels it is. The wretched man gritted his teeth. He originally wanted to take advantage of the situation, but he didn't expect to meet an expert. All right then, 500,000 taels it is. Tianyan immediately transferred 500,000 spirit stones over. He still had this little bit of money. After killing so many experts, his net worth was not small. Not to mention 500,000 taels, he could even take out 5 million taels. However, he did not want to be cheated. Being rich didn't mean that he was willing to be ripped off. Otherwise, no matter how much money he had, he would lose it all. Thank you, sir. The wretched man smiled and handed the soul accumulating grass to Tianyan. He was quite satisfied with the 500,000 spirit stones. After putting away the soul accumulating grass, he made an inviting gesture to Tianyan. Sir, please come with me. I will lead the way for you. After receiving the money, his attitude immediately underwent a huge change. It was true that the rich were the masters. At the moment when the wretched man turned around, Tianyan stretched out his hand, and the red crystal on the ground was immediately sucked into his palm and placed in his inventory. Soon, the wretched man led him out of the imperial capital. He walked slowly and did not have any means of transportation. He was really poor. How far is the place you are talking about? Tianyan frowned. He didn't want to drag this out. It's 30 miles away from the river. You can reach there in half a day by foot. In the next moment, Tianyan grabbed him by the shoulder and flew in the direction he was pointing, which scared him out of his wits. Core transformation stage cultivator. The wretched man's face turned pale. He couldn't resist the attack of a core transformation stage cultivator. His cultivation was only at second or third level of core condensation. How could he resist the attack of a core transformation stage cultivator? Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. As long as you tell me the truth, don't blame me for being impolite. Tianyan said coldly. Yes, this little one understands. This little one understands. Soon, under the guidance of Tianyan, they arrived at a small river. After the wretched man was put down, he was still in a state of shock. This is where I found it. I happened to pass by here, and I saw something in the water, so I went down to have a look, but I didn't expect to find a soul accumulating grass. The wretched man pointed to the river and said. Tianyan glanced at the river and immediately found a slight change. Indeed, there were traces of excavation here, and there was a small hole that wasn't filled with sand. Well, you can go now. Tianyan said to Tianyan. Thank you, master. Thank you, master. The wretched man turned around and left. He didn't dare to stay for half a step. He was afraid that he would be killed by Tianyan. In this wilderness, the difference in cultivation was so big. If he was killed by Tianyan, not to mention 500,000 spirit stones, even his life would be lost. After the wretched man left, Tianyan took out the small red crystal again and squinted his eyes. Phoenix Companion Crystal. I didn't expect that there would be a Phoenix Companion Crystal in a small river. You know about soul accumulating grass, but you don't know about Phoenix Companion Crystal. It seems that I am lucky. The small red crystal in his hand was not a beautiful stone, but a Phoenix Companion Crystal. To put it bluntly, this thing can only appear when a phoenix is born. This means that there is a possibility that there is a phoenix egg nearby. A phoenix is a divine beast. How can he miss it? Moreover, the imperial capital is not far away, so he should take advantage of the time to find this phoenix egg. As a pet, the more the better. He won't complain about having too many divine beasts. Immediately, Tianyan walked forward. Along the way, he opened his mental power to the maximum and constantly explored the situation at the bottom of the river, not letting go of a single detail. He wanted to explore whether there was a passage or something else at the bottom of the river. According to his guess, there is a high possibility that there is a living phoenix in this area. Looking at it, it is very likely that it was born not long ago. Otherwise, how could there be a companion crystal? If a living phoenix is subdued, the benefits are self-evident. In the future, if it is carefully cultivated, not only can it become a mount, it can also be used to fight everywhere. Chapter 400. A newly born phoenix. Etienne's eyes flickered with excitement. He only wanted the soul-accumulating grass, but who knew that he would find a living little phoenix? That was indeed unexpected. Of course, it was also possible that the phoenix had already left, but there was definitely a living phoenix that had appeared here. No matter what, he had to carefully search for it. If there really was a phoenix, but he did not go look for it, it would be a pity. This place was only a short period of time away from the Heavenly Dragon Imperial capital, so even if there were strong enemies surrounding him, he could quickly return. There was no need to worry at all. After investigating along the way, he suddenly stopped. There was a hole in the small river that had a steady stream of spring water gushing out from it. The hole was not big, but it was not small either. It was just enough to accommodate one person. Etienne's body was neither big nor small, just enough to fit in. However, he was not in a hurry to jump down immediately. Instead, he first mobilized his spiritual sense and frantically probed below. With his astonishing spiritual sense, it was enough to probe the situation several miles away. However, if he were to probe in detail, he would not be able to probe that far. Probing this hole was not a problem. His spiritual sense probed the hole and quickly found a path. At least it was not a dead end. As he continued to probe, it became a little blurry because the distance was too far, but he could still probe a rough path. Etienne raised his head and looked into the distance. There was a mountain not far away, and the water here flowed down from that mountain. He first looked at the mountain, then looked at the unfathomable hole, and made up his mind. Let's go down from here. Etienne jumped down and sank to the bottom of the river. Then he quickly swam towards the hole. Like a fish, he drilled in at an extremely fast speed and entered the hole. The reason why he did not go straight to the mountain was because he felt that the companion crystal should have come from here. To rush over from such a far place, it needed a stronger current. The current of the river was not rapid. The current that came out from the hole was still relatively rapid. It was enough to wash the companion crystal over, so he first investigated this place. If his judgment was wrong, he could just go back the way he came. It was not difficult at all. As he went deeper, the deeper he went, the more he could feel the turbulence of the water. The force of the current was enough to push small rocks up. Soon he continued to swim deeper. After swimming for a long time, he finally started to reach the top. When he looked up, he saw a faint light coming from above. We're here. Etienne's eyes lit up. He immediately increased his speed and swam upwards. Crash! He jumped up and immediately felt a wave of heat coming from all directions. This feeling was comparable to the heat he felt in the cave when he saved Yi Qingxian. When he looked up carefully, he saw a huge parasol tree in front of him. Its fiery red leaves swayed, and every time they swayed, a wave of heat would come over, as if it wanted to chase him away. Under the fire parasol tree, there was a tiny phoenix. It looked rather small and had clearly just hatched. It was quietly resting under the fire parasol tree. There were many pieces of companion crystals around it, probably leftovers. It seemed that when the little phoenix emerged from the eggshell, a small piece of companion crystal bounced out and fell into the hole, which was why it was washed up into the river. Other than that, there were no exits around. It was completely sealed in the cave. In fact, there was still an exit, but it was sealed. His sharp eyes saw that the side was engraved with divine glyphs to hide this place. At least from the outside, it was impossible to detect this place. The only way to come up was through this underground passage. Fortunately, that person only knew about the soul-accumulating grass, and didn't know much about the Phoenix companion crystal. It could only be said that this thing was even rarer. The soul-accumulating grass might have appeared outside, but divine beasts were too rare at the moment. They had almost disappeared, and no one knew where they went. There really is a little phoenix. Tianyan was excited. Just as he climbed up, the fire parasol tree swayed crazily. More than 10 leaves turned into sharp swords and shot towards him. Halfway through, there was a sudden whoosh, and the leaves turned into balls of flames that wrapped around him. Whoosh! Tianyan reached out and grabbed the flames, quickly absorbing them into his body. Ding successfully obtained 50 proficiency points of inextinguishable flame. After absorbing, it can turn into proficiency points. This is not bad. Tianyan's eyes lit up. He didn't expect that he could increase proficiency points. It was too difficult to level up the inextinguishable flame. Refining a large batch of elixirs could only increase a few hundred to 1,000 proficiency points, so it was hard to level it up. Leveling up the inextinguishable flame, other than giving him powerful flames, would also increase the success rate of refining elixirs and forging. The latter was especially important. Seeing that he could increase proficiency points, he instantly felt very comfortable. He didn't expect the fire parasol tree to attack. Fortunately, the power was limited and not very strong. If his cultivation was a little lower, he would definitely be burned to ashes. He looked up and the detailed information immediately appeared in front of him. Fire Phoenix Tree. Cultivation Level 8 Spirit Core Stage. A tree born after the complete death of a phoenix. It has a trace of the soul memory of its life, and can attack outsiders. Martial Art. Phoenix Fire. Kill it and drop inextinguishable flame and phoenix soul. It seemed that this was not a fire phoenix tree, but a fire phoenix tree. Moreover, it was born after the death of a phoenix. Although he had always heard of the immortal phoenix, it was not really immortal. As long as it was seriously injured, it would still die. If the injury was not serious, it would recover quickly. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. A few more leaves flew over and quickly turned into balls of fire. But they were all absorbed by him, and turned into proficiency points of inextinguishable flame. As he got closer, the flames erupted more and more fiercely. However, the leaves on the fire phoenix tree were becoming fewer and fewer. If he continued to attack like this, he would definitely use up the last of his spiritual power, and completely wither. This was just her final struggle to protect her child from the attack. He thought that after the phoenix died, it turned into a fire phoenix tree, and chose to protect his child until the last moment. Chapter 401. The closer Tianyan got, the more ferocious the fire phoenix tree's attacks became. But this would only end its life faster. To him, these flames were nothing more than supplements. They didn't cause any harm at all. It was just that he couldn't bear to do so. It was really touching for a mother to go this far. Stop, I have no ill intentions. Tianyan shouted. He didn't know if it could understand him. The flames didn't stop and continued to attack him. Several balls of flames continued to attack him, but they were absorbed into his body and turned into proficiency. It seemed like it was meaningless. This fire phoenix tree didn't stop at all. I saw a small piece of companion crystal outside, so I came to check it out. Tianyan looked at the little phoenix and said in a deep voice, I know you are biased against humans, but your child looks very weak. If this continues, the so-called undying phoenix will still die. There was nothing to eat here. It was completely bare. A newborn little phoenix needed a lot of nutrients. After eating the eggshell and companion crystal, there was nothing else to eat. Even if it ate the fire phoenix tree behind it, it wouldn't be able to grow quickly. At this time, the flames really stopped and didn't continue to attack. It was effective. He was just trying it out, but he didn't expect it to be effective. It only paused for a moment before continuing to attack. The flames were weaker than before. It was obvious that it was hesitating. The most important thing was that it could understand and still had a little consciousness. It was just that it couldn't speak. I can swear that I will treat it well from now on. I can even send it back to its hometown. I will never hurt it, and I will not extract its blood essence. Tianyan wasn't afraid of the flames, but he still had some conscience. It was because of this little phoenix that he chose to do so. Purging this fire phoenix tree was considered a good deed. Many cultivators' eyes lit up when they saw divine beasts. Every part of a divine beast was a treasure. Whether it was a dragon or a phoenix, they were all amazing divine beasts. Their blood essence was very precious. Tianyan had enjoyed it before. That was the dragon god's bloodline. It was just a little bit of dragon blood, and it wasn't very pure. The benefits it brought were self-evident. A living little phoenix could absolutely be sold for a sky-high price. If this little phoenix was taken out and discovered, it would definitely shock many forces. Among them, the grade 4 forces would immediately set out to snatch it. Tianyan guessed that the other party was unwilling to let him go because of this point. Even if it died, it didn't want a human to take away the mythological beast. At that time, it would be worse than death. Although he swore an oath to send him back to his hometown, there was not much meaning to it. If the little phoenix was nurtured a little more, would he still be afraid that this phoenix wouldn't follow him? Even if he didn't follow him, he could still send him back to the phoenix nest. The reward he would receive would definitely be amazing. He had to look further ahead. He wouldn't kill the phoenix for its essence blood. There was no need for that. If little phoenix didn't want to follow him, he might be able to befriend the phoenix clan and become their friend. By then, the phoenix tree had stopped its attacks. It seemed that it had been convinced. Making an oath was not something that could be easily broken. If it were to break the oath, it would surely suffer the wrath of heaven. Seems like it's really effective. Tianyan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the phoenix tree stop attacking. He didn't hesitate for too long, and immediately started to make an oath. I, Tianyan, will do my best to send little phoenix back to its hometown in my lifetime. Otherwise, I will suffer the wrath of heaven. He didn't hesitate for too long and immediately swore the oath. After he swore the oath, a divine rune condensed in the sky and branded itself into his soul. This meant that as long as he didn't break the oath, he would never be able to break it. This should be the rule of heaven. It made the oath not a lie but a real effect. If anyone broke the oath, it would be fatal. After making the oath, the phoenix tree really stopped attacking. As he approached, the phoenix tree still didn't attack. It seemed like it trusted him completely and wouldn't attack him. When he arrived under the phoenix tree, the fire phoenix tree began to sway. Countless leaves floated down and landed on his body. The leaves of the phoenix tree made a whoosh sound and turned into flames. However, these flames were different from the previous ones. They were pure fire spiritual energy, and they merged into Tianyan's body. Successfully obtained Immortal Flame 500 proficiency points, 600 proficiency points, 1000 proficiency points, 900 proficiency points. The proficiency points increased rapidly. It was much more than before. The previous attack was a consumption type. Although it was absorbed, it would more or less consume some. Now that it was poured into his body, it wouldn't cause him any harm, so the effect would be more obvious. Then a shadow appeared on the phoenix tree. A huge phoenix floated up and looked at him with a gentle gaze. You are different from the humans I have seen. I will pour the remaining phoenix fire into your body. You can use it in the future. The stronger your cultivation, the more you can use it. This will be of great help to you. The phoenix's tone became tired and powerless. It felt like it would disappear at any time. Is there anything I can help you with? Tianyan asked. Just help me send Yen, back to the phoenix nest. Please, human. After sending him back, our phoenix clan will reward you. We won't treat you badly, please. More leaves flew up and turned into countless amounts of energy that flowed into his body, turning into a huge wave of proficiency. It can be said that the Immortal Flame's proficiency suddenly increased a lot. Ding! Congratulations on successfully leveling up Immortal Flame to middle grade earth level. Flame power increased by 3 times, forging and alchemy success rate increased. The next level requires 500,000 proficiency points. Tianyan successfully leveled up. Maybe he didn't get any kill reward, but the reward he got was more than the kill reward. It seems that the increase in proficiency is a lot. If the level of Immortal Flame is too low after killing it, he still can't level up his Immortal Flame, so this is undoubtedly a better choice. Ding! Successfully accepted side quest. Send little fire phoenix back to phoenix nest. Fulfill phoenix's wish. Reward: 200 million EXP, 1 million crazy point, 300 prestige point, 100 Phoenix clan favorability point. Chapter 402. I'll leave my child to you, please. The fire phoenix tree quickly turned into ashes that drifted in all directions. Its soul also quickly disappeared, faintly about to disappear. The sleeping little phoenix suddenly woke up and raised its head to look at the fire phoenix tree that had been protecting it. It had already become bare and was about to disappear at any moment. It hurriedly stood up. Because it was extremely weak, its petite body swayed and almost fell to the ground. Woo woo woo. It cried out, its eyes filled with tears. It was full of reluctance towards this fire phoenix tree. Perhaps it already knew that this fire phoenix tree was its mother's incarnation. Now that the fire phoenix tree was about to disappear, it meant that its mother, who was protecting it, was about to leave. Child, goodbye. It revealed a faint smile and disappeared completely. Looking at the disappearing figure, Etianyan sighed deeply. He did not know how this fire phoenix died here, but it seemed that it was seriously injured, which was why it chose to hide here. Etianyan squatted down and reached out to hug it, but this little phoenix began to be vigilant. Its sharp beak pecked over, full of hostility. He smiled faintly and operated the inextinguishable flame in his body. The familiar flame surged out slightly and circulated on his palm. After absorbing the phoenix fire, his inextinguishable flame naturally had a familiar aura. An aura that could make the little phoenix feel at ease. This scorching heat dried up the surrounding damp ground, but it did not have any effect on this little phoenix. The main thing was that he did not use all of its effects. Otherwise, even if it was a phoenix, it would have been roasted by this flame. The power of the inextinguishable flame was too strong, and the little phoenix's cultivation was too weak. It could not withstand such a strong flame. I have no hostility towards you. Your mother told me to take good care of you. This is what your mother left for me. Etianyan said gently. When this little phoenix felt the familiar aura, it let down its guard. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Etianyan reached out and hugged it, gently caressing its smooth feathers. The small phoenix still looked so beautiful and so cute. The little phoenix narrowed its eyes, enjoying this comforting feeling. It had just been born and had stayed here for a period of time, so it was still a little lonely. Shortly after, Etianyan took out some elixirs. These were all recovery elixirs, and he passed them to the tiger to consume. The moment it smelled the medicinal fragrance, it became spirited. Like jelly beans, it continuously ate them. After taking it, he immediately felt energized. These elixirs were not precious elixirs. They were just some body-refining elixirs that contained pure spiritual power. This was already enough. This was what the little phoenix lacked. In a blink of an eye, Etianyan's medicinal pills were all eaten up and little phoenix still looked at him with a longing gaze, hoping that he would give him some more medicinal pills. Your cultivation is too low. Next time, I will refine a batch of high-level body-refining pills for you. If I give you pills of too high level, you will not be able to bear it. Etianyan smiled. It was indeed a mythological beast. Its small body could not be filled at all. These elixirs were simply not enough to fill its teeth. It was just that its cultivation was too low. It was only at the 7th or 8th level of the body-refining realm. It was born with this level, worthy of being a mythological beast. It was just that even mythological beasts could not bear too high-level elixirs. High-level elixirs were easy to cause problems. The little phoenix made a woo sound and happily touched his palm. It was very intimate. Obviously, it had a great impression of Etianyan. Under the familiar flame and elixirs, its favorability skyrocketed. After he stayed here for a while, he said to the little phoenix, "Little guy, I want you to go to a place and stay." After saying that, he let the little phoenix enter his pet bar. He couldn't leave the little phoenix outside, so he could only put it in his inventory. If it were to casually wander outside, it wouldn't take more than a day for it to encounter a fatal disaster. His sin value was already high enough. It was absolutely incomparable to pulling hatred. Although he was not afraid, there were too many things to do now. It was better to cause less trouble. Well, it's time to leave. Etianyan glanced around. There was no strange place around, and there were no treasures. The phoenix's skeleton had already become a part of the fire phoenix tree, so there was no good thing here. When he was just about to leave, he heard a dong-dong sound in his ear, followed by a boom sound. Many stones on the side collapsed, and a huge gap appeared. Finally, this big array was destroyed. If it wasn't a little rotten, it would be really difficult to destroy. But it's really hidden. I don't know what kind of treasures are inside. There must be treasures. I found the phoenix companion crystal outside. It is very likely that the phoenix is here. Immediately after, several figures fell from above and looked inside with great interest. When they saw Tianyan standing here, they were all stunned. Tianyan looked at them and was immediately happy. He did not expect to meet an acquaintance here. Among the several people who fell, one of them was Su Jian, who was previously at the Coiling Dragon Cave. He did not expect to see him here. It's you. When Su Jian saw Tianyan, he was angry on the spot. They had worked so hard to dig for so long, but when they landed, not only did they not see any treasures, but they also saw a living person here. Tianyan shook his head. Fortunately, he came in time, otherwise, the little phoenix would definitely be taken away. It was too easy to destroy the fire phoenix tree. Even if it was not enough, they could call for help. It seemed that they also found the phoenix companion crystal. From the conversation just now, Tianyan could roughly guess the situation. It seemed that they were lucky, but unfortunately, Tianyan was even luckier. It's really been a long time. Why don't you go to the Coiling Dragon Cave? Tianyan smiled lightly. In addition to Su Jian, there were two other strong cultivators. One of them had reached the 6th level of the core transformation stage, which was the highest cultivation among all of them. Obviously, he was moved by the Phoenix Companion Crystal, and immediately came to look for it. He would definitely be happy to help if he could get a little phoenix, but who knew that there was nothing here? Do you know him? Liao Yunguang turned his head and looked at Su Jian, asking for his opinion. Of course I know him. Even if he turns into ashes, I will still recognize him. Su Jian gritted his teeth and said, he is the bastard I told you before. He beat me and my friend. Brother Liao, your brother's leg was broken by him. What? He is the one who broke my brother's leg? Liao Yunguang's eyes were extremely cold. I originally wanted to settle this matter with you, but it seems that you have come to me personally. Chapter 403. He didn't expect that the core transformation stage cultivator next to him would be the elder brother of the cultivator, whose leg was broken by Tianyan. It was true that the big one came after the small one was defeated, but they didn't come to seek revenge. Instead, they met here. Break my leg? They already kicked me. Do you think I'm stupid enough to let you kick me? Tianyan said indifferently. Some actions need to pay the price. If they were slightly weaker, they would have rolled down the mountain. It wouldn't be a big deal if they rolled down the mountain, but rolling down the Coiling Dragon Cave would seriously injure them. Because it's not life-threatening, Tianyan is merciful. He only broke one of their legs so that they can go back and use some ointment to recover. They won't be permanently disabled. Really? I agree with you. Some actions need to pay the price. Liao Yunguang looked at him coldly. I'll give you a chance to live. Break your legs. Break my legs? What if I say no? Tianyan smiled. If you don't, I'll cripple you myself. Liao Yunguang's eyes were cold. His core transformation stage aura surged out and swept around, blowing away the grass and stones. Brother Liao, wait a minute. Su Jian sneered and asked sternly. Where are the treasures here? Did you take them for yourself? They quickly turned their attention to the main point. They came here to look for treasures, not to go for a walk. They worked hard to break the concealment formation, and thought that they could find treasures, but they didn't expect that there was nothing here except for a living person. Treasures? There is no treasure here. As you can see, what is here now is what was here before. Tianyan squinted his eyes and said, if there is nothing else, then I'll leave first. You guys take your time to look for it. As soon as his voice fell, 3 figures quickly surrounded Tianyan. You want to leave? Not so easy. Su Jian sneered. You can leave, but you have to hand over the treasure. I don't believe that there are no treasures here. Otherwise, how could there be such a concealment formation here? The concealment formation is not bad, but who told you that there is only one exit? When I came in, there was nothing. Believe it or not, it's up to you. Yi Tianyun's words were half true and half false. Other than the little phoenix, there was really no other treasure. From the perspective of treasure hunting, little phoenix was indeed not a treasure. What he said was not wrong, but he did not need to tell the truth to these people. Of course, they weren't telling the truth either. The so-called treasure was the phoenix, but they didn't say it out loud. Instead, they called it a treasure. I didn't expect there to be an entrance. Only then did they notice the pool at the side. Without a doubt, Yi Tianyun had come in from there. We don't believe what you said. Search him properly, and we will believe what you said. Su Jian's eyes flashed with viciousness. If you want to live, be honest. Otherwise, not to mention your legs, this place will be your grave today. The three of them against one person. Especially Su Jian, who felt that Liao Yunguang's cultivation was definitely enough to suppress Yi Tianyun. So he dared to say such words. They didn't believe that Yi Tianyun would not listen to him. Yi Tianyun squinted and looked at them. With their character, if they really search his body, no matter what they have, they will take it away. Even if it is white, they will say it is black. Do you think that I will search you? Yi Tianyun's eyes were slightly cold, and he said coldly, don't stop me. If you don't have it, then you don't have it. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Yo, you dare to be arrogant in front of Brother Liao? You're courting death. Su Jian laughed, and his face became ferocious. Brother Liao, capture him for me. Since he is not willing to speak, then interrogate him and search him at the same time. That's for sure. It'll be boring if it dies so easily. However, this small character, Ji Long, go deal with him. Practice your skills, don't play him to death. Yes, Brother Liao. Ji Long sneered and looked at Yi Tianyun. Let me see how strong you are. Is your cultivation at the first level of the core transformation stage, or the second level of the core transformation stage? Ji Long's cultivation was at the second level of the core transformation stage, which was considered a very good cultivation. Originally, both of them were elders, and they came because they heard that there was a phoenix egg. Otherwise, they really wouldn't be able to invite them. Core transformation stage cultivators were not cabbages, and they couldn't be casually invited. As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Long waved his hand, which turned into a tiger claw, and grabbed towards Yi Tianyun. He lightly stepped on the ground, and his whole body flew up. Immediately his eyes turned cold, and he locked onto Yi Tianyun's range. In the next moment he really turned into a fierce tiger, and swooped down from the sky, pressing towards Yi Tianyun fiercely. He only wanted to take Yi Tianyun's head. Tyrannical Tiger Claw. The aura of a core transformation stage cultivator was completely released, and the powerful pressure created a shockwave that swept in all directions, causing the surrounding grass to sway. Yi Tianyun still didn't move, which made the other two onlookers think that he was scared silly. The moment he wanted to take Yi Tianyun's head, a cold light burst out of his eyes, and he quickly lowered his body. He turned around and kicked out with the force of 1,000 caddies. Get lost. This fierce kick was so fast that Ji Long didn't have time to react at all. With a dong sound, he was kicked out like a rubber ball. Immediately, he hit the thick wall, and with a bang he was bounced back. He looked up and spat out a mouthful of blood, and finally fell to the ground. His body twitched slightly, and he no longer moved. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. But looking at the situation, if he didn't die, he would be crippled. Instant kill. Ji Long was instantly killed in one move. A core transformation stage powerhouse was instantly killed in front of their eyes. With just one kick, Ji Long couldn't move, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. This strength was much stronger than when he was dealing with them. Who else? Yi Tianyun looked at them indifferently, without the slightest killing intent, but Su Jian, who was stared at, suddenly trembled in his heart, and a sense of fear surged from the bottom of his heart. They originally thought that Ji Long could defeat Yi Tianyun, but now it seemed that they were too naive. The other party was much stronger than Ji Long. Otherwise, it would be impossible to kill him so easily. Su Jian hurriedly ran over, and when he helped Ji Long up, he was already on the verge of death. He was seriously injured, and a large part of his chest had caved in, and his face was bleeding from his 7 orifices. One could imagine how serious his internal injuries were. Brother Liao. Brother Ji can't hold on any longer. Su Jian hurriedly shouted. Bastard, you're courting death. Liao Yunguang said angrily. Chapter 404. Don't provoke me, but now you provoke me. I want you to die. Liao Yunguang was completely angry. His meridians swelled up, raising his strength to the peak. Since he could kill Ji Long, his cultivation must not be low. He must take this seriously, otherwise he will suffer a setback. You want me to die? Do you think you are qualified? Yi Tianyan sneered. Teach them a lesson. It is a good thing to teach them how to behave, otherwise, if they go out and provoke others one day, it will not be as simple as a broken leg. Teach us how to behave, then I will teach you how to behave. Liao Yunguang said angrily. Attack together. He signaled Su Jian to attack together. Su Jian's cultivation was not high, but if the two of them attacked together, it would more or less have some effect. 2 against 1, this doesn't seem fair. Yi Tianyan looked at the two rushing towards him and sneered. There is no such thing as fairness on the battlefield, childish. Liao Yunguang sneered. Both of them quickly took out their weapons and prepared to suppress Yi Tianyan. Is that so? Then I will also invite 2 helpers to play. Yi Tianyan's eyes flashed and he waved his hand. Come out and get some fresh air. Immediately, 2 huge phantoms were summoned by him. A domineering aura fell from the sky and landed heavily on the ground. Dong! A heavy sound spread throughout the cave. They were scared by this aura and stepped back a few steps, staring at the scene in front of them. 2 giant dragons. One red and one black. The cultivation of the red dragon was at the peak of core transformation stage, and the cultivation of the black dragon was also not low. Under the cultivation of the black dragon, it had reached the 7th or 8th layer of core transformation stage. If this continued, the black dragon would become a void spirit stage divine beast. Mythological beasts. They were shocked. They did not expect that the other side would have 2 mythological beasts. Usually, if someone had 1 mythological beast, it would be a dream come true. Otherwise, they would not have set out to find the phoenix, but they did not find the phoenix, but found 2 giant dragons, and they did not belong to them. Since it's 2 against 1, I'll also call out 2 divine beasts to help out. That way, it'll be slightly more fair. Yi Tianyan smiled faintly. There was no reason for him to do so. He just wanted them to come out for a breather, so that he could ruthlessly torture them. Liao Yunguang was shocked speechless by his words. Was this a little fair? Fair my ass. Any one of the 2 divine beasts could easily crush them. How could they compete? How could they fight? They did not hesitate for long before they turned around and ran. However, how could Yi Tianyan allow them to escape? He ordered, kick them back. The 2 giant dragons quickly flew over and blocked the exit in the blink of an eye. They swung their thick dragon tails over, and their speed was so fast that it left afterimages. The 2 of them hurriedly stretched out their weapons to block. With a dang sound, the 2 of them flew out and rolled several times before stopping. Their weapons were all sent flying, and the area between their thumb and forefinger was dripping with blood. They were unable to withstand such a tyrannical strength. If it wasn't for Yi Tianyan telling the 2 giant dragons to be lenient, they would have been dead long ago. Yi Tianyan smiled as he walked over and said, Want to leave? Do you think that's possible? Liao Yunguang crawled up from the ground with difficulty. His arm had already caved in. In the face of such a terrifying strength, he was unable to resist at all. He stood up with a distorted face. Panic crawled all over his face. He trembled as he knelt in front of Yi Tianyan and begged for mercy. This big brother, I beg you to let me go. I didn't mean to target you. My younger brother deserves to have his leg broken. As long as you let me go, I can go back and break my younger brother's other leg, so that he can reflect on himself. He was afraid that Yi Tianyan would kill him. He did not want to die. He would rather break his younger brother's leg again than let himself die. In his heart, he cursed his younger brother countless times. He actually provoked such a pervert. A pervert with 2 giant dragons. How could he take revenge? This was completely courting death. Just now you kept saying that you want me to die. Do you think that I will let you go now? Yi Tianyan narrowed his eyes at him. Then go die for me. Suddenly Liao Yunguang roared crazily. He immediately jumped up from the ground and used all his strength to strike towards Yi Tianyan. Layers of air waves rolled up a golden light and pierced towards Yi Tianyan. A scorching flame rose from Yi Tianyan's palm. Just like that, he firmly met Liao Yunguang's palm. Bang! Yi Tianyan did not move at all. Instead, it was Liao Yunguang who was sent flying. In terms of strength, Liao Yunguang was not on the same level as him. Ah! Suddenly, Liao Yunguang screamed miserably. A flame curled up from his arm and madly burned towards his arm. No matter how Liao Yunguang struck, he could not extinguish this flame. This is immortal fire, although it is not truly immortal, but ordinary methods cannot solve it at all. Immediately, he rushed towards the pool of water. At this time he has turned into a man of fire, and with a bang sound, he jumped into the pool. But even if he fell into the pool, the flame continued to burn, and his screams turned into gulu-gulu sound from the bottom of the pool. After a while, Liao Yunguang floated up to the surface. There was no sign of life. Ding successfully killed Liao Yunguang, gained 390,000 EXP, 4600 crazy point, 150 SPS. Obtained martial arts breaking palm, sweeping leg god. Obtained item recovery pill 10. 000 EXP pill, 5 times EXP card. Immortal fire is really powerful after the upgrade. Yi Tianyan is very satisfied with the flame. After the upgrade, its power has increased a lot. It can easily burn a core transformation realm expert to death. The only one left is Su Jian. After he was hit, he was lying on the ground, shivering, and when he struggled to get up, his eyes were filled with fear. Don't kill me. I am willing to be your slave. I will never betray you. Su Jian kept begging for mercy. This kind of playboy is definitely not willing to die, not to mention he is the young master of Su family. His status is not low. Do you think I will let you live? Yi Tianyan walked towards Su Jian step by step. I know a secret. I found a phoenix companion crystal nearby. It is very likely that there is a phoenix nearby. Su Jian shouted and revealed his biggest secret. Phoenix. Yi Tianyan stretched out his hand, and the little phoenix appeared in his hand. You mean this one? Unfortunately, this is not a secret at all. I already obtained it. There is no need for you to tell me. This. Su Jian's eyes widened. There is really a phoenix nearby. Chapter 405. Su Jian was dumbfounded by this scene. He thought that the information about the phoenix would be his last hope. Who knew that the little phoenix had already fallen into Yi Tianyan's hands? This phoenix is really here? Su Jian was stunned for a moment, then immediately begged for mercy. I won't tell anyone. I just beg you to let me go. I will never cause trouble for you in the future. Do you think I will believe you? Yi Tianyan waved his hand, and 2 giant dragons pounced forward. Accompanied by a scream, Su Jian and Ji Long, who was lying on the side, were completely crushed to death, turning into a lot of experience points. Only dead people keep secrets. Yi Tianyan did not want to cause more trouble. If he let Su Jian go back, he would definitely tell everyone about everything. Since he had even released the giant dragons, it meant that he was going to kill them. He would definitely not let Su Jian live. Immediately after, Yi Tianyan took back all the pets, and after searching them, he used the immortal fire to destroy the corpses and completely burn them to ashes. It's almost time to leave here. This time's harvest is not small, and I even got a phoenix. I can take it back for my aunt to raise. Yi Tianyan smiled. The current little phoenix was too small, and it needed to be cultivated for a period of time. Otherwise it would be too weak. After packing up, he quickly flew out of the passageway and headed outside. From the passage they came in, they found that this was indeed the inside of the mountain. and it was a very remote place, but they found it. Their luck was not bad. As long as they searched carefully, they would be able to find it. When he returned to the imperial capital, there was no change in the battle situation. The Heavenly Dragon imperial capital was as usual, and there was no big change. In fact, he did not leave for too long, at most half a day. Naturally, there would not be any change in the battle situation. If Prime Minister Long wanted to attack, he would need a lot of time to prepare. He would not attack immediately. This was undoubtedly too careless. As soon as he returned to the palace, Renjiro hurried over and said, "Brother, where did you go? I couldn't find you everywhere." "I'm going out to find some treasures." Yi Tianyun smiled mysteriously. Just as he was about to keep them in suspense, Renjiro grabbed him and dragged him towards the imperial hall. "Now is not the time to talk about such things. Big Brother has something important to announce. He has been waiting for you for a long time." Renjiro didn't care about what treasure he was talking about. She just led him outside. "Have you been waiting for me for a long time? What does this have to do with me?" Soon after, under Renjiro's lead, they walked out of the imperial court hall. Outside the imperial court hall, many ministers had already gathered. All of them were supporters of Renlongi. Yi Tianyun looked around and saw that there were about 20 to 30 people. All of them were at the core transformation stage. These were the elders of the big families, or the patriarchs, and the ministers of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Below each of the ministers was actually a family's power. This meant that there were 20 to 30 representatives gathered here. That was how powerful the Heavenly Dragon Empire was. When dozens of second and third level forces gathered together, they would become a fourth level force. Among them, Yi Tianyun saw a familiar face. It was Hua Xieying. Hua Xieying followed Yi Tianyun to the imperial court hall. When they appeared, everyone's eyes were fixed on them. Their eyes were filled with impatience. They didn't welcome them at all. "Who is this brat? He hasn't come for so long, making us wait for so long." "That's right. Where did he come from? He looks so young. Is he qualified? If he doesn't have the ability, I won't approve of him." One by one, the ministers expressed their dissatisfaction. Most of them were curious about Renlongi's identity. "Big Brother Ren, what's going on?" Yi Tianyun felt a little embarrassed. He didn't think that he would be called. It seemed that he had missed something. "Where have you been?" Renlongi smiled and asked. "I went out for a bit. I didn't expect that I would be called out here." Yi Tianyun felt helpless. "I didn't expect you to go out either." Renlongi turned his head to look at the crowd and said, "He is my sworn brother. In the future, he will be the king of the Heavenly Dragon Empire." "What? A sworn brother of the great Emperor Ren?" They were immediately stunned. A king had said that he would do it, and his background was unknown. How could they be convinced? "Great Emperor, I do not object to you acknowledging your brother, but to casually accept the title of king is related to power. To be able to mobilize a large portion of the power of the entire Heavenly Dragon Imperial capital, to hand it over to him so casually, this is too casual." The minister who walked out was none other than the patriarch of the Su family, Su Wenlong. From his appearance, Yi Tianyun could tell that Su Fei was somewhat similar to him. It was obvious that they were father and son. "Yes, I also object. If you are unable to convince us, we will not approve of this king." Another minister walked out. They were loyal and devoted to Renlongi, but that did not mean that they would all support Renlongi's actions. After disappearing for so many years, he had just returned and was about to appoint Yi Tianyun as the king. This was too rash. Yi Tianyun was stunned at the sight. To make him a king, he really had to think it over and over again. The king's power was very great, even higher than Renjiro's. Other than them, everyone else expressed their opposition. Renlongi was not surprised by their objections. Anyone would be dissatisfied if they were to casually appoint an unknown person as the king. If you all object, then what do you have to do in order to agree with him? Renlongi said unhurriedly. "We are not familiar with him at all, and we have not made any contributions. How can we convince the masses?" "Yes. And strength. Without strength, how could he sit in this position? If the great emperor does not have a reason to convince us, we will not agree. They all expressed their opposition. If there was no persuasion, of course, they would not allow Yi Tianyan to become the king. He saved me, is that enough? If it wasn't for him, I would not have been able to come out from the coiling dragon cave. Renlongyi said lightly. Everyone was startled and immediately looked at Yi Tianyan in shock. They did not expect this young man to have such ability. But he does not have any prestige, he will not be able to convince the masses. There were still people who did not buy it. Saving people was one thing, but saving Renlongyi was not enough to make him a king. The guard had also saved the princess. How could he become the prince's son-in-law? Renlongyi frowned. It seemed that after a few years of not being here, his prestige had declined. Renjiro's beautiful eyes turned, immediately smiled at Yi Tianyan and said, "Brother, use your ability to scare them." Renlong looked at his sister curiously, not knowing what his sister wanted to do. Yi Tianyan shrugged his shoulders helplessly and took a step forward. He reached out his hand, and a layer of protective shield instantly covered his body. The familiar heavenly dragon's power was released in all directions, and everyone was shocked by the power that he unleashed. Renlong was shocked, because Renjiro did not tell Renlong about this matter. Looking at the shocked expression of the crowd, Renjiro chuckled. This result seemed to be what she wanted to see. Strength was good, but it was not as shocking as this. Chapter 406. Brother Yi, you can control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon? Renlong's eyes were filled with shock, and he immediately stood up from his throne, followed by ecstasy. As long as they were on the same side, being able to control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon was a great benefit to them, as it meant that they would be able to release more power. The entire secret treasure of the heavenly dragon had a spiritual vein here, so there was no need to worry about the lack of spiritual power. The biggest problem was how to release the power of the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon. This is... Yi Tianyan smiled faintly and said, "Because you were outside, I didn't tell you about it. I thought Jiro would tell me, but she didn't. Little sister, you." Renlong glared at her. Such a big matter, yet she didn't say it out loud. "I just wanted to tell you about it later. I didn't expect to say it here. This is our trump card." Who knew that these people didn't recognize Brother Yi's strength? Renjiro smiled. Many people gradually recovered from the shock. They didn't expect that someone who could control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon would appear out of nowhere. They all knew the power of the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon, so if one more person could use it, the power would be unimaginable. The most important thing was that there had always been a rule that whoever was recognized by the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon would become one of the successors. Even if they couldn't become the great emperor in the future, at least they could become a general. According to this situation, there is no problem for Yi Tianyan to become a king, and it is not a problem at all. Does he also have the blood of the Ren family? Yes. Does he have the blood of the heavenly dragon? If that's the case, then I don't have any problem with him becoming a prince. They were a little speechless and didn't know what to say. They were guessing whether Yi Tianyan was a member of the Ren family, or an illegitimate child. Perhaps he was an illegitimate child, or perhaps he was related to the Ren family. All along, only the Ren family could control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon, which was why they had such speculation. In any case, their opposition was basically gone. This was equivalent to a kind of recognition, which was more practical than any kind of meritorious deed. Because if he could control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon, why would he worry about not making a contribution? Being able to control the heavenly dragon's secret treasure was already a great achievement. At that time, Renlong's contributions were not considered great, and he was much weaker than Long Zai. However, he was able to control the heavenly dragon's secret treasure, which allowed him to successfully ascend to the throne of the great emperor. Things were just that casual. This was just like the spiritual king path. If one passed the test, one would become a spiritual king. If one didn't pass, no matter how powerful one's talent was, one could only be an elder, and not a spiritual king. I wonder if Brother Yi is willing to become my heavenly dragon empire's king? Renlong asked with a faint smile. Big brother Ren, this is my honor. Of course, Yi Tianyan was very happy. Becoming a prince of the Heavenly Dragon Empire was very beneficial to him. How could he not be happy? Then from today onwards, Brother Yi is the king of my Heavenly Dragon Empire. The mansion in the north of the Heavenly Dragon Imperial capital will be King Yi's residence. Ren Long immediately announced the reward. Other than giving him a title, he also gave him a residence. Greetings, King Yi. One by one they shouted. Although they were somewhat helpless, they could only obey. The power was there, and the rules were there. They could only admit it. This matter has come to an end for the time being. Now that King Yi can control the Heavenly Dragon secret treasure, even if Prime Minister Long attacks us, we have a good chance of winning. At least we will be invincible. Ren Long said solemnly. One by one, the ministers became serious, and some of them were a little confused. Will Prime Minister Long really attack us? He is the uncle of the great emperor. How could he do such a thing? As for colluding with the Netherworld Empire, that is unlikely. Prime Minister Long is a famous butcher of the Netherworld Empire. He has killed too many invaders. Since they didn't have much evidence, they all felt that it wasn't very possible and were all skeptical. Feng Long and his 6 brothers are undoubtedly Prime Minister Long's people. Even if he did not collude with the Netherworld Empire, this is enough to sentence him to death. Nominally, he is my uncle, but we are not related by blood. Even if we are related by blood, he will not be able to escape the death penalty, Ren Long said in a cold voice. The ministers looked at each other in dismay. Feng Long's 6 brothers were really Prime Minister Long's capable subordinates. If they could do such a thing, it could only be said that there was no other way. When they continued to discuss, a guard rushed in from outside and shouted, "Not good! Not good! Not good! Prime Minister Long is leading an army. Among them is the Netherworld Empire's Imperial Preceptor." Everyone was shocked when they heard this. The Imperial Preceptor of the Netherworld Empire is here. Are you sure you are not mistaken? Ren Long asked. I am absolutely not mistaken. It is the Imperial Preceptor of the Netherworld Empire. There are several flags fluttering beside him. He is flying side by side with Prime Minister Long. Almost all of the armies are heading here, whether it's the Netherworld Empire or our Netherworld Empire. They're all heading here. The spy who reported the news was specialized in collecting intelligence, so naturally, he knew what the Imperial Preceptor looked like. This bastard really colluded with the Netherworld Empire. Prepare for battle, Ren Long said angrily. Yes, Prime Minister Long. The ministers shouted in unison. Their eyes were filled with anger. Their previous speculations had turned into anger. Originally, they had some hope for Prime Minister Long, but now it seemed that everything was an illusion. Prime Minister Long was a traitor. Let's go out of the city gate and wait for their arrival. Ren Long nodded and took the lead to fly out of the city. Yi Tianyan and Ren Jiro flew out together with Ren Long. Soon, they reached the towering city wall of the imperial capital. When they looked into the distance, they could vaguely see a group of black dots flying towards them. There were a lot of experts coming towards them. It was obvious that the entire army was dispatched. This was a battle to the death. Either the Heavenly Dragon Imperial capital would fall, or Prime Minister Long would be completely defeated. Activate the Heavenly Dragon Grand Array. Ren Long began to mobilize the power of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. Soon, the entire imperial capital began to shake. Rays of light emerged from the ground and quickly enveloped the entire imperial capital, forming a thick protective shield that suddenly became impregnable and unbreakable. Brother Yi, I don't want to talk too much. This time, we will need your help to deal with these rebels, Ren Long said with his eyes filled with fighting spirit. Brother, have you forgotten about me? Ren Jiro said with a bright smile. Of course not, but Brother Yi has just joined our Heavenly Dragon Empire, and we are already in such a predicament. If the imperial capital really falls, Brother Yi, take my sister and run away, Ren Long said solemnly. Brother. Ren Jiro was just about to say something when Yi Tianyan interrupted. Chapter 407. It was undeniable that the Imperial Preceptor's strength was quite amazing. It could be said that the Imperial Preceptor was much stronger than them. However, they had the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, which could suppress the other party. Even if their side fell, they had to kill the other party. However, Tianyan didn't think that he would lose. Seeing so many Heavenly Dragon secret treasures, he would be able to gain a lot of experience points. If he killed all of them, his experience points would skyrocket. As long as he continued to break through, he wouldn't be afraid of the Imperial Preceptor. Yes, it's too early to say these words. Let them know that no matter how weak our Heavenly Dragon Empire is, it's not easy to deal with them. Renlong's cultivation had dropped significantly. Even if Tianyan replenished his blood qi with the blood jade, it would be too late for him to improve his cultivation. This was a problem that had plagued him for many years, causing his cultivation to decline. If he wanted to return to his original peak, he would need to cultivate for at least a few years before he could completely recover. At present, it seemed that their overall combat strength was relatively average. It could be said that they didn't have a single Void Spirit Stage cultivator. However, there were a lot of Core Transformation Stage cultivators and above. There were a lot of Core Transformation Stage cultivators, but it was very difficult to reach Void Spirit Stage. Even the Netherworld Empire only had a few Void Spirit Stage cultivators. The main reason why they didn't have many Void Spirit Stage cultivators was because they were all on Prime Minister Long's side. One was Prime Minister Long, and the other was Divine General Long Tian. Both of them were facing each other. Whether it was the number of Void Spirit Stage cultivators or the overall combat strength, Prime Minister Long was much stronger. Now, with the arrival of the Imperial Teacher, there are a total of 3 Void Spirit Stage powerhouses. Such a luxurious lineup is really terrifying. Soon, Prime Minister Long and the Imperial Preceptor arrived. The 3 people in front of them were Prime Minister Long, the Imperial Preceptor, and Divine General Long Tian. Tianyan glanced at them, and their detailed data appeared in front of him. Prime Minister Long, 4th level Void Spirit Stage. Wearing high-grade sacred armor. Combat power, 21 million normal state. Weaknesses, none. Martial arts. Heavenly Dragon Battle Roar. Heavenly Dragon Battle Art, Netherworld Divine Palm, Netherworld Divine Art, etc. Drops Heavenly Dragon Battle Roar, Heavenly Dragon Battle Art, Dragon God Bloodline, 30x EXP card, etc. State Teacher, 6th level of Void Spirit Stage, wearing high-grade Sacred Artifact Battle Armor. Surrounded by high-grade Sacred Artifact Dragon Subduing Flag. Combat Power, 32 million normal state. Weaknesses, none. The martial arts he knew were the God-Breaking Art, and the Netherworld Divine Palm. Can drop Netherworld Divine Palm, Broken God Art, Tyrant Rune Paper, etc. Divine General Long Tian, 2nd level of Void Spirit Stage. Equipped with high-grade Sacred Artifact Battle Armor. Wielding high-grade Sacred Artifact Divine Sword. Combat Power, 18 million normal state. Weaknesses, none. The Demon Subduing Sword Art, 100 swords piercing the sky, and so on. Can drop Demon Subduing Sword Art, Dragon God Bloodline, Dragon God Sword, etc. Each and every one of them is extremely strong, especially the State Teacher's cultivation is even more astonishing. Even without using any power, the State Teacher's battle power is as high as 32 million, which is simply heaven-defying. Divine General Long Tian could see that these high-grade sage artifacts had too many bonuses. His cultivation is 2 levels lower than Prime Minister Long, but the difference in battle power is not big. The main thing is that he has a weapon in his hand, which instantly increases his battle power by several million. The power of a sage artifact is too strong, and it's a high-grade sage artifact. If it's a divine artifact, it's estimated that a divine artifact can superimpose tens of millions of battle power. In addition to the 3 of them, there are a group of generals and ministers following behind them. All of them are in the Core Transformation Stage, followed by the Spirit Core Stage, and finally the lowest level soldiers, but none of them are weak. All of them are from Spirit Refinement to Core Condensation Stage. Although the cultivation of these soldiers is very low, they have the advantage in numbers. Besieging the city from all directions, they have a great decisive effect. On Tianyun's side, the ministers have also led the army to the city wall. Some of them are already standing guard outside the city gate, preparing for a war. When Prime Minister Long and the others are still a kilometer away from the city, they stopped in the air, and the people behind them also stopped. My nephew, I haven't seen you for a long time. I thought you were dead. Prime Minister Long is handsome, and has the aura of a king. It's a pity that he can't get the recognition of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. Otherwise the Heavenly Dragon Empire would be under his control. Don't worry, even if you die, I won't die, Ren Long said coldly. As the Prime Minister of the Heavenly Dragon Empire, you actually colluded with the Netherworld Empire. Not only do you want to harm me, you are also a traitor. Are you worthy of the Heavenly Dragon Empire? I am worthy of the Heavenly Dragon Empire? Prime Minister Long laughed a few times, then his face immediately sank. It's the Heavenly Dragon Empire that has wronged me. Why am I not better than you? I am better than you in terms of talent, and I am also better than you in terms of political ability. But because of a trivial bloodline problem, I can't get the recognition of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, so I can't become a great emperor. It's ridiculous. Prime Minister Long's words are very sarcastic. No matter how good one is, as long as the bloodline is not suitable, they will still be kicked out. This is indeed not very fair, but letting you become the Prime Minister is tantamount to making up for it. Most of the power is in your hands. But you still chose to betray the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. You even tried to kill me to extract my blood essence so that you can get the recognition of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. If father and mother were here, they would definitely not forgive you. Haha, no matter how much I make up for it, I am not an emperor. The so-called control of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure is nothing more than to absorb the blood essence of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. I didn't absorb too much blood essence, which led to this result. If I absorb a little more blood essence, I can still get the recognition of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. Don't think too much. Yi Tianyan interrupted and pointed his finger at his chest. Even if your blood essence is pure, the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure won't recognize you. And it won't recognize you. As a divine artifact, the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure has a certain degree of spiritual wisdom. It doesn't recognize you because your Heavenly Dragon blood is not strong enough, but because your heart is too black. If you had become a great emperor, I think you would have made the Heavenly Dragon Empire belong to the Netherworld Empire. Am I right? According to Yi Tianyan's words, it means that Prime Minister Long has always been a spy of the Netherworld Empire. From the beginning, they all thought that Prime Minister Long's betrayal was entirely due to the fact that he was ignored by the Netherworld Empire. According to Yi Tianyan's words, it means that Prime Minister Long has been a person of the Netherworld Empire for a long time. Chapter 408. Yi Tianyan's voice wasn't loud, but it could be heard by everyone. Everyone looked at him and Prime Minister Long. His words were so rude, and he wasn't talking about the bloodline but the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure that could identify Prime Minister Long as a traitor. If that's the case, then it's really amazing. What's so special about the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure? Yi Tianyan was talking nonsense because he saw that Prime Minister Long had mastered the Netherworld Divine Palm and the Netherworld Divine Art. These two techniques belonged to the Netherworld Great Emperor. If he wasn't one of the Netherworld Great Emperor's trusted aides, then how could he practice these two techniques? Why didn't Divine General Long learn them? And why didn't General Feng and the others practice them? The only possibility was that Prime Minister Long had always been a member of the Netherworld Empire, and he was very close to the Netherworld Great Emperor. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to practice these two techniques. Boy, who are you? Prime Minister Long looked at him coldly. Is it important who I am? Yi Tianyan said indifferently. You are just a spy sent by the Netherworld Empire from the beginning. Why are you acting like the Heavenly Dragon Empire owes you? From the beginning, it was a mistake for you to stay in the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Prime Minister Long's eyes shrunk, as if he was hit by something. In the imperial capital, many people were shouting and glaring at Prime Minister Long. The meaning of the two was different. Even if the Heavenly Dragon Empire conquered the imperial capital, they would inevitably resist. Nonsense. If you didn't force me, how could I do such a thing? Prime Minister Long sneered. I have had enough of the unfair treatment of the Ren family. I want to overthrow the stubborn faction of the Ren family and build a fair and just heavenly dragon empire in the future. As long as one has the ability, he or she will be qualified to lead the heavenly dragon empire. It's not because of some bullshit bloodline that he can sit in this position. Prime Minister Long's words made the eyes of the generals behind him light up. Even the cultivators in the imperial capital were shocked. This was indeed the reason why the Ren family was recognized by the Heavenly Dragon Empire. They had made so many contributions, but they couldn't compete with the power of bloodline. It has to be said that Prime Minister Long's fanning skill is very strong. It's not without reason that so many powerhouses chose to stand on his side. He must have given them more benefits or promises, otherwise, why would they stand on Prime Minister Long's side? You're the one spouting nonsense, Ren Long said coldly. I admit that I'm inferior to you in all aspects, but that's because you're a bit older than me. That's why there's a gap. How could the person who could control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure be weak? Furthermore, our Ren family does not stick to a single pattern when it comes to using people. As long as their standard is high enough, we will put them in an important position. Let me ask the officials on our side, has our Ren family ever mistreated you? The clan leader of the Hua family nodded. The Ren family did not mistreat them indeed. They even treated them very well. They were fair in their rewards and punishments. They would never act recklessly. As for the position of the Great Emperor, this has always been the rule of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Don't forget how the Heavenly Dragon Empire rose to power. He relied on the power of this bloodline to rise to power. Moreover, if the previous Great Emperor saw that the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure was not something he could control, how could he be at ease? Ren Long said in a deep voice. We have thought about this a long time ago. It's not that we are stubborn, but the Heavenly Dragon Empire chose us. The late Emperor had mentioned this before. If I were a mediocre person who knew nothing, the throne of the Great Emperor would never have been mine. Instead, I will let someone else do it, for example you. In the end, it seems that I won with the power of my bloodline, but did we really mistreat you? You are too ambitious. The late Emperor said that you are too ambitious, and I hope that everything is just an illusion. Whether we forced you or you are a spy, you led the people of the Netherworld Empire to besiege the imperial capital, which caused the Heavenly Dragon Empire to fall into the flames of war. This is simply outrageous. Ren Long vented out all the anger in his heart. He was completely exasperated with the fact that they didn't meet his expectations. He was really angry about this. No matter what the reason was, the imperial preceptor of the Netherworld Empire was here. And no matter what the reason was, it was already considered as treason. You said that you were forced to lead the Netherworld Empire to attack the Heavenly Dragon Empire? If I don't do this, will you give up the position of the Great Emperor to me? Prime Minister Long sneered. Yes. I would rather give up the position of the Great Emperor than let the Heavenly Dragon Empire fall into the flames of war. I don't want to see the generals kill each other, Ren Long said decisively. I don't want the Netherworld Empire to benefit from this. Ren Long's words shocked many people. Is he really willing to give up the position of the Great Emperor? Even the generals on Prime Minister Long's side were deeply shocked. Prime Minister Long's face sank. Originally, he just wanted to suppress the public opinion so that the morale of the army would fall into chaos, but he didn't expect that the other party would turn the tables on him. Regardless of whether he was forced or not, he had already made a mistake, a huge mistake at that. It was like robbing people because they were too poor. Brother Long, why are you talking so much with them? You just want to reduce the pressure on the Heavenly Dragon Empire, so that you can manage it better. The Imperial Preceptor's eyes flashed with murderous light as he said. The winner is the king, and the loser is the thief. You have been here for too long, and your heart has softened. Prime Minister Long had a complicated look on his face, but he quickly calmed down and said, It seems that I have been here for too long, and my heart has softened. In that case, kill all of them. Let's overthrow the Heavenly Dragon Empire, and become the Great Emperor of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Whoosh. An extremely cold light pierced through the air. Its speed was so fast that before Prime Minister Long could react, it was already in front of them. The Imperial Preceptor, who had the strongest cultivation, immediately reacted. He waved the flag floating beside him and moved forward to block the attack. In an instant, he constructed a large array in the air to block the cold light. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shattering noise, a burst of extremely cold air rolled towards them and wrapped them in it. The generals around them didn't even have time to react before they were frozen by the cold air. 1 or 2 core transformation stage experts didn't even have time to react before they were frozen into ice sculptures. Then he fell from the sky, and with a pung sound, he was smashed into powder, completely dead. Chapter 409. While everyone was immersed in a bunch of explanations, Yi Tianyan already attacked, and his overbearing attack instantly killed 2 core transformation experts. The overbearing power of Yi Tianyan woke up many people from their stupor. Now that they thought about it carefully, they realized that Yi Tianyan was right. The Imperial Preceptor of the Netherworld Empire was standing right next to them. How could they just come over for a cup of tea and then leave? Of course, it was impossible. They were here to attack the Heavenly Dragon Empire. They didn't want to give up and the other side didn't want to leave. So there was no need to talk nonsense. Who is this kid? The Imperial Master frowned. He didn't know when the Heavenly Dragon Empire had such a strong cultivator. The flags he released were fine, but their defense was obviously shaken. If the Heavenly Dragon Empire had a stronger cultivator, they would have been able to break their defense. Even after blocking the attack, a shockwave spread in all directions. 2 core transformation stage powerhouses were immediately killed, not to mention the rest of the spirit core stage powerhouses. This power was truly shocking. No one knew when the Heavenly Dragon Empire had such an expert. I don't know. I don't think this kid is simple. Let's kill him first. Prime Minister Long's face was filled with an ominous glint. Good. Let's see if you can resist our attack. Attack. Roar. Everyone roared and rushed towards the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Although Run Long said so much, they didn't waver in their determination to attack the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Especially the people of the Netherworld Empire. They wouldn't show any mercy. The Heavenly Dragon Empire was a new territory for them. It was their time to make a contribution to the Netherworld Empire. Under Yi Tianyan's sharp arrow, the war immediately broke out, no longer confronting each other. Many generals in the city were already in high spirits, and their eyes were red as they faced the people of the Netherworld Empire. I didn't want to say anything to them. If they want to shake the morale of my army, I will refute them. Renlong sneered. If I didn't want to shake the morale of my army, I would have already rushed forward. A group of traitors. Prepare for battle and prepare to defend against their attacks. We don't need to be in such a hurry to move out. Renlong said solemnly. Archers, get ready. Shoot them down ruthlessly. Yes. Groups of archers immediately stood outside the city walls, holding longbows forged from low-grade soul armaments in their hands. They aimed at the charging army and drew their bowstrings, preparing to attack. Fire. Swish, swish, swish. Tens of thousands of sharp arrows shot out, forming a dense rain of arrows in the air, piercing towards them. There was no way to dodge. The general leading the charge quickly waved a fierce attack, blocking the countless arrows. Many of them were blocked, but there were still many arrows that fell, piercing through the soldiers that were charging at them. The ground was immediately dyed red by large patches of blood. The smell of blood quickly filled the area, but this did not scare them away. Instead, it aroused their fighting spirit. Little sister, let's go first. Renlong's eyes flashed and he clenched his fist. The power of the entire Heavenly Dragon Empire trembled. Following that, a terrifying power rose up from the ground and a light pillar emerged from the ground. Following that, a 20 to 30 meter long Heavenly Dragon condensed from the light pillar. Without any hesitation, the Heavenly Dragon rushed towards the army. This was the effect of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. It could summon a huge Heavenly Dragon to fight against the enemy. Although the Heavenly Dragon was condensed from spiritual power, the light yellow dragon scales on it looked so real. With a roar, the heavenly dragon rushed towards the core transformation stage cultivators. The power of this heavenly dragon was not weak. It was at least at the 7th level of the core transformation stage. Although it could not defeat a void spirit stage cultivator, it could not die. As long as the energy of the heavenly dragon's secret treasure was not depleted, and the array was not broken, the heavenly dragon would never die. This was the scary part of the heavenly dragon's secret treasure. It could exist for a long time, and no attack would be able to stop it. Roar! Soon after, another heavenly dragon rushed out from the pillar of light. This heavenly dragon was obviously much smaller. It was only about 20 meters long, much smaller than the previous one. This heavenly dragon was not summoned by Renlong, it was summoned by Renjiro. The heavenly dragons summoned by different cultivators were different in size and cultivation. Each person could only summon one heavenly dragon. That was why the more people who could control the heavenly dragon's secret treasure, the better. The two heavenly dragons rushed into the crowd of soldiers and slapped them with their huge claws. Many soldiers were killed by the claws of the heavenly dragon's secret treasure. These two heavenly dragons were enough to kill a lot of soldiers. Heavenly dragon. Quick run. Our attacks are useless. Our attacks can't hurt it at all. Help! Help! The soldiers screamed in pain. They were so scared that they threw away their helmets and armors. None of them dared to attack the heavenly dragons. Suddenly, the soldiers in both areas retreated. They did not dare to get close to the heavenly dragons. Mere worms, how dare you be so impudent? Imperial Preceptor sneered, and the flags around him flew out rapidly, forming a circle of light that enveloped one of the sky dragons in an instant. No matter how the sky dragon tried to break out of the circle of light, it was unable to break out of the circle of light. In fact, the circle of light was getting tighter and tighter. The area of its struggle was getting smaller and smaller, and it could only let out continuous roars. Following that, two more flags flew to the side, trapping the other sky dragon. It was unable to struggle out at all. In a short while, the two heaven dragons were trapped and unable to come out. These two heavenly dragons could not die, but it did not mean that they could not be trapped. As long as the heavenly dragon did not completely collapse, they would not be able to summon another heavenly dragon. He had completely suppressed the two heavenly dragons, making them unable to defend themselves. Many people in the imperial capital were shocked when they saw this. The so-called immortal heavenly dragons were captured just like that. If this continued, the only thing left to do was to break through the shield. Once the shield was broken, they would have to face a great army. You two little fellows, do you think we're like a bunch of hotheads? Do you think we'll just charge over and be done with it? I will take good care of you. This power will no longer belong to you. It will belong to me. Prime Minister Long sneered. This is the dragon subduing flag. It is specially made to subdue dragons. The Imperial Master really came prepared. Renlong's face darkened. The heavenly dragons they summoned were immediately suppressed. The morale of the Imperial Master was greatly boosted. It turns out that the dragon subduing flag has such a strong effect. Now I understand. Yi Tianyan smiled. Let's see how many heavenly dragons he can subdue. Then his eyes flashed, and the whole heavenly dragon imperial capital trembled violently. A beam of light soared into the sky, followed by a 50 to 60 meters long heavenly dragon. The tyrannical power of the heavenly dragon pressed down on the surroundings. Void Spirit Stage First Level. Chapter 410. Everyone thought that Yi Tianyan could only summon two heavenly dragons, but when the third heavenly dragon appeared, the enemy and their allies were shocked. How can he summon more heavenly dragons? Didn't each person only summon one heavenly dragon? How can there be three heavenly dragons? Roar! Whether in terms of length or strength, the huge sky dragon far exceeded the sky dragons summoned by Renlong and the others. It pounced towards the army and opened its huge mouth to spit out a terrifying beam of light. Everywhere it went was turned into ruins. Many of the enemy soldiers were sent flying, screaming in pain. Ding! Successfully killed Spirit Core Cultivator General. Reward: 2,300,000 EXP, 9,300 Crazy Point, 150 SPs. Obtained Martial Art Fierce Dragon / Flying Leg. Obtained Item Recovery Pill, Spirit Breaking Pill. Ding. Successfully killed Core Transformation Realm General. Reward 3. 1 million EXP, 12,000 Crazy Point, 450 SPS. Obtained Martial Art Tyrannical Tiger Claw, Dragon Soul Secret Art. Obtained Item Dragon Jade Armor, Heavenly Domain Sword. Ding. Successfully killed Spirit Core Cultivator General. Reward 2,400,000 EXP, 9,400 Crazy Point, 200 SPs. The terrifying Heavenly Dragon rampaged madly in all directions. Compared to them, Tianyan is more like a terrifying slaughterer. No matter how many Heavenly Dragons come at him, he will kill them all. Before he started killing, he used all the EXP cards he had. If he didn't have any, he would buy them in the shop. 30x EXP card, 20x EXP card, 10x EXP card and 5x EXP card. That's 65 times EXP. With 65 times EXP, coupled with his own crazy EXP mode, it's a terrifying 73 times EXP suddenly. A small Spirit Core Cultivator can bring him more than 2 million EXP. The same is true for Crazy Point, he used 3x EXP card. The same is true for Sin Point, he used 2x Sin card. All of a sudden, all of his experience points exploded. In the face of so many enemies, if he didn't use it, he would be a fool. No matter how much Crazy Point he has, he will use it. Because he will definitely get back the cost soon unless he dies. What's going on? There is another Heavenly Dragon. The faces of the Imperial Preceptor and the others all changed. Moreover, it was such a ferocious Heavenly Dragon. They had never seen such a huge Heavenly Dragon before. This degree of domineeringness was simply unparalleled. Most importantly, it wasn't Renlong or Renjiro who was summoning them. It was that unknown kid. Renlong's side was stunned. This was the first time they had seen such a domineering Sky Dragon. The Sky Dragon that was summoned was so shocking. Heavens! Did King Yi summon this? He's so powerful to be able to summon such a huge Heavenly Dragon. This King Yi is really unfathomable. I wonder how he can control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. But with King Yi here, we will have a great advantage. The morale on this side soared. The Sky Dragon was their guardian. Seeing the Sky Dragon soaring through the sky, their hearts naturally surged. Swish, swish, swish. The archers once again pulled back their bows and shot out. Sky Dragon was not weak, but it was not just a small group of soldiers that surrounded them. There were soldiers everywhere, and they charged towards them. Dang, dang, dang. When the enemy soldiers got close, they quickly launched a frenzied attack at the barrier. However, they could not break through the barrier, and all their attacks were blocked outside. On the other hand, the soldiers inside the barrier were able to attack outside. That was the difference. Those inside the barrier could attack at will, but those outside could only attack the barrier. They could not break through it. If they wanted to break through, they would first have to break through the barrier. However, under such a crazy attack, the barrier could not last for too long. Hence, many soldiers had already killed their way out, and were fighting with the soldiers outside. When they were injured or exhausted, they quickly retreated to rest. This kind of fortress was perfect for a war of attrition. Die. At that moment, Divine General Long Tian roared and swung his sword down. Even the void was about to be split in half. As a dazzling light slashed down, the Sky Dragon that was attacking everywhere was cut in half at the waist. The violent force hit the Sky Dragon's body. However, after the Sky Dragon was cut in half, it turned into countless light spots that floated in the air. Very quickly, it reformed into a huge Sky Dragon. There was no problem at all. Be it its size or cultivation, there were no changes. Roar! The Sky Dragon roared and opened its mouth, pouncing towards the soldiers with low cultivation. A golden pillar of light shot out from its mouth and bombarded them, killing a large group of soldiers. Immortal! Indeed, Sky Dragons could not die. Unless they were trapped like the Imperial Preceptor, no matter how they were cut, it would be useless. They would recover very quickly and fly again. If he trapped it, it would be the same as locking this power, and it would not be able to condense it again. Imperial Preceptor. Divine General Long Tian's face sank. He wanted the Imperial Preceptor to suppress this sky dragon. The Imperial Preceptor's face was also ugly. The flags he brought could only suppress 2 sky dragons. If he were to suppress Yi Tianyun's one, the other 2 would have to escape. This was because Yi Tianyun's one was too domineering. 2 or 3 flags could not suppress it at all. Suppress this one first. The Imperial Preceptor gritted his teeth and quickly kept the dragon subduing flag. He then instructed, "Send someone to stop the other 2 sky dragons. Leave this one to me." With a wave of the Imperial Preceptor's hand, the dragon subduing flag that trapped the other 2 sky dragons immediately flew over and quickly surrounded Yi Tianyun's sky dragon. In the blink of an eye, it was surrounded by countless light rings, trapping it tightly. The difference between the 2 was too great. Suppressing the sky dragon was not a problem at all. The problem was that these sky dragons could not die, so it was useless no matter how strong they were. What was the point of killing them if they could not be killed? Countless slashes and then countless recoveries, so there was not much point in killing them. After the other 2 sky dragons broke free from the light rings, they quickly attacked to the side. However, they were quickly trapped by the other cultivators. They were constantly attacked and could only cause small damage. "King Yi, it seems like it's our turn to take action personally." Renlong's expression was solemn. He was ready for battle. The sky dragon only had the effect of increasing their aura. It was not practical to chase these people away. "Yes, but I still have a gift for them." Yi Tianyun flew out and looked at them with a faint smile. "It seems that this dragon subduing flag is quite powerful. Let's see how many sky dragons you can suppress." In the next moment, Yi Tianyun waved his hand, and dozens of earth dragons appeared on the ground. They roared at the sky. Then 2 huge dragons appeared on the ground, one red and one black. It was a large group of sky dragons. "Is he a beast tamer?" The Imperial Preceptor's face darkened as he looked at the large group of sky dragons. With so many sky dragons charging at them, the damage they caused was terrifying, especially the 2 huge dragons. Their chi was at the peak of the core transformation stage. It was enough to suppress all the other cultivators except for them. Chapter 411. Roar. After a group of earth dragons and 2 red and black dragons appeared, they immediately rushed to the front. Especially this group of earth dragons. There are dozens of them, like dozens of mountains. They rushed to the front. Unless one is a core transformation expert, otherwise, no one will be able to move them. Seeing this group of earth dragons, Imperial Preceptor's face became even more ugly. General Long's earth dragon army was subdued by him. What kind of beast tamer is this? He can control so many earth dragons at once. This is a big gift, and all of them are dragons. The soldiers behind him were shocked. Renlong and the others have never seen so many dragons. He can control so many at once. He is simply a monster. Under the attack of so many earth dragons, the soldiers who charged to the front were either slapped to death or sent flying by the earth dragons. They were either killed or injured. Ding! Successfully killed a soldier of Spirit Refinement Realm, gaining 93,000 EXP, 650 Crazy Point 50 SPs. Obtain Martial Art. Ding! Successfully killed Spirit Refinement Soldier, gained. A large number of cannon fodder were easily killed. The ones who rushed to the front are usually the ones with the lowest cultivation level, but they are also the ones with the most number. Those with high cultivation level have already turned around and fled. They don't dare to get close to this group of earth dragons. Brother E, are you also a beast tamer? Renjiro was shocked. Well, I am, but we can't hold them for long. We need to go out and intercept them. Yi Tianyun didn't think that these earth dragons and the 2 giant dragons would be able to stop them unless they killed the Imperial Preceptor and the others. Otherwise, these earth dragons would be a piece of cake for the Imperial Preceptor and the others. Everyone looked at Yi Tianyun. Their hearts are even more shocked. They don't know what to say. Those who opposed Yi Tianyun to become a king before, now they are trembling. Even if he can't become a king at that time, he will definitely become a king after this battle. With this strength, he is more than qualified to become a king. Not only are you a beast tamer, you can control so many dragons, and the heavenly dragon secret treasure. How could the Run family have such an expert? Could it be that the Run family hid him? Prime Minister Long ignored the group of Earth Dragons below. They were more concerned about Yi Tianyun's identity. It was not easy for him to control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. I'll leave that to your imagination. Yi Tianyun pulled back the Ice Frost Divine Bow in his hand and aimed at them, shooting wildly. Wherever he went, a large number of enemies were crushed and forced to retreat. Just his strength alone was enough to stop most of the troops from advancing. They didn't dare to approach at all. Kill. At this time, they roared loudly. Taking advantage of the high morale, all the patriarchs rushed out, and a large number of core transformation stage powerhouses joined the battle. At this moment, the battle had officially entered the climax, and the flames of war were completely ignited. They wouldn't hide inside and watch foolishly. Instead, they would come out and fight bravely, completely driving away these enemies. If you don't want to talk, then no matter who you are, today will be the day you die. Prime Minister Long's eyes turned cold, and the power of the Heavenly Dragon burst out. A Heavenly Dragon phantom appeared behind him, and then he fiercely slapped his palm. Heavenly Dragon Battle Roar. A Heavenly Dragon whizzed out of his hand and attacked him crazily. The earth trembled because of it. Just the places that the Heavenly Dragon had brushed past cracked into several pieces. There were even deep depressions. It was as if the body of a giant dragon had rubbed against the ground, leaving a deep ravine. The power of this move was as high as 40 million combat power. It can be said that it was a very strong attack. At this moment, Prime Minister Long suddenly appeared behind Yi Tianyun, and the long sword in his hand pierced towards Yi Tianyun's back. The flickering sword light was released from the body of the sword, and without hesitation, it pierced towards Yi Tianyun's chest. 2 against 1. They wanted to get rid of Yi Tianyun as soon as possible. Everyone can see that Yi Tianyun is a scourge. If they want to capture this Heavenly Dragon Empire, they must first kill Yi Tianyun. Moreover, Yi Tianyun has rushed out, and the rest are still inside the shield, so they can't deal with him. Run Long and the others wanted to help, but it was too late. Everything happened too suddenly, so fast that they couldn't keep up. Their cultivation is a notch lower than Prime Minister Long. Run Long was originally stronger than Prime Minister Long, but that was in the past. Now he is not as strong as Prime Minister Long Dai. Prime Minister Long's eyes flickered with a cold light, and he released the maximum strength in his hand, wanting to kill Yi Tianyun in one move. When many people thought that Yi Tianyun would die, he suddenly stretched out his hand and grabbed it. He grabbed it with his bare hand, and didn't use a weapon to block it. Clang! A crisp sound rang out, and when everyone looked over, they discovered that the attack didn't sever his hand. Instead, it was caught in his hand, and the tyrannical sword couldn't cut it in the slightest. Prime Minister Long was completely caught in Yi Tianyun's hand. Your level is a bit too low. Even General Feng can't hurt me. You're still lacking. Yi Tianyun sneered and dragged Prime Minister Long over. By the time Prime Minister Long reacted and wanted to let go, it was too late. Yi Tianyun grabbed his shoulder and quickly turned him forward, following the Heavenly Dragon Battle Roar. He pushed Prime Minister Long forward and used him as a shield. Boom! Prime Minister Long was hit in the back, and the violent impact caused him to cough up blood. Yi Tianyun slightly twisted his head to the side, dodging the blood. However, what greeted him next was a heavy sword that pierced through his chest and lifted him into the air. This sword was Prime Minister Long's sword, and it was already in Yi Tianyun's hand. Your strength is too weak. Practice more in your next life, and don't be a traitor. Xiong! The immortal fire burned and enveloped Prime Minister Long. The violent flame quickly burned Prime Minister Long into charcoal, and Prime Minister Long threw his body to the side. Divine General Long Tian's corpse fell from the sky. When it hit the ground, it was smashed into several pieces. All of them were burnt to a crisp, so it was natural for it to be smashed into pieces. Ding! Successfully killed Prime Minister Long. Reward: 36 million EXP, 15,000 CPS, 1,000 SPs. Obtained Demon Subduing Sword Art. Obtained item: Dragon God Bloodline 4th grade, Divine Dragon Sword. An explosive amount of EXP surged up, And with the terrifying EXP stacking, Prime Minister Long got 30 million EXP at once. After killing a few more, Prime Minister Long can level up easily. But Void Spirit experts aren't cabbages. There were 3 Void Spirit experts in front of him, but now that he killed one, there were only 2 left. Chapter 412. 2 against 1. This was indeed not very fair, but who would say that it was fair on this battlefield? Winner takes all, whoever wins is the king. But these words coming from Yi Tianyun's mouth were full of sarcasm. 2 against 1 couldn't kill him, it was really too weak. Many people were shocked by this scene. A Void Spirit stage expert's attack actually didn't cause any damage to him. Wasn't this too heaven-defying? Blocking this attack was already quite powerful, but catching the sword with one's bare hands was completely different. Just how strong was one's defense? Of course, Yi Tianyun's defense was not weak. He had already equipped the Evil Dragon set, which boosted his defense by 20 times, and he also had the Dragon God Bloodline, which boosted his defense greatly. One must know that he was able to withstand General Feng's attack, even when his cultivation was weaker. Now Divine General Long Tian was a bit weaker than General Feng. His weapon was slightly better, but it couldn't make up for the gap between the two. He was easily killed by Yi Tianyun. Not only did he use Divine General Long Tian as a meat shield to block the attack, he also easily killed Divine General Long Tian. He was like a god of war. This battle was very shocking. But the other battles were still going on. They didn't stop because of the situation here. They were still fighting crazily. The battle had long been pushed into a white-hot state. Among them, Yi Tianyun's giant dragon was constantly killing. Everywhere it went, there were corpses. They were wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. They abandoned their armor and fled. Morale had dropped greatly. Now that Divine General Long Tian was killed, the soldiers were scared out of their wits. Originally, they thought that with so many experts helping them, they would definitely win. But now it seemed that they were completely suppressed. If this continued, they would all die here. How could they not be afraid? In addition to this, EXP was pouring in crazily. There was also his sin value. They were constantly increasing while he was facing off. There were so many earth dragons and giant dragons, and they were killing their enemies at every moment. They looked so fierce. As long as Yi Tianyun didn't ask them to stop, they wouldn't stop. If this continued, even if he didn't kill high-level experts, just the Spirit Core stage would be enough for him to level up. 73 times the experience was no joke. On rare occasions, leveling up would not be difficult. Run Long also joined the battle, and killed the core transformation generals on the side. Although he couldn't compete with Prime Minister Long and the other core transformation generals, it wasn't a problem for him to kill them. Originally, the key person was Run Long, but now that the Imperial Preceptor and Prime Minister Long were transferred to him, he was the real key person. If they didn't kill him, they wouldn't be able to conquer the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Oh, when I said that 2 against 1 isn't fair, it's not for me, but for you guys. Isn't the number of people a little too little? It's not fair to you guys. Yi Tianyun held onto the Dragon God sword and looked at them coldly. Prime Minister Long's face was ashen. He didn't expect that Divine General Long Tian would be killed so easily. A Void Spirit stage expert was killed just like that. This was his right-hand man, and he had died just like that. Don't be arrogant. At this time, the Imperial Preceptor rushed towards Yi Tianyun. A few divine runes appeared in his hand, and he quickly threw them out. A huge array appeared in the air, and quickly condensed into a lightning bolt that struck down from the sky towards the Imperial Preceptor. The Imperial Preceptor is indeed a Divine Rune Grandmaster. He is indeed a Divine Rune Grandmaster. The Imperial Preceptor's strength was not in attack, but in array formations. The Imperial Preceptor was a Divine Rune Grandmaster, and he came here to break the array. Even if he had a Heavenly Dragon secret treasure, he would still be able to break the array if he had enough time. Unfortunately, he met Yi Tianyun. He can't break the array at all, let alone break it. Lightning bolt. Suddenly, a pearl appeared in Yi Tianyun's hand. Along with a terrifying suction force, The lightning bolt was sucked into the heavenly thunder divine pearl. After the divine runes disappeared, Tianyun flew in the air unscathed. On the contrary, the heavenly thunder divine pearl in his hand was full. The power of this heavenly thunder attack was indeed not weak. It immediately reached more than 50 million combat power, but the heavenly thunder divine pearl has absolute suppression, and completely absorbed this power. Fortunately, the heavenly thunder was still within the range of tolerance, otherwise the heavenly thunder divine pearl would have exploded. This is. The imperial preceptor's pupils shrank. The array that he was proud of was absorbed just like that. This heavenly thunder is not bad, but I will return it to you. Tianyun stretched out his hand, and a terrifying lightning bolt blasted out from the heavenly thunder divine pearl. A thick lightning bolt bombarded Prime Minister Long. Its power was almost the same as the one released by the imperial preceptor. They didn't expect that Tianyun would use this trick again. Not only that, but he was also able to attack Prime Minister Long, who had a slightly lower cultivation base than Prime Minister Long. Prime Minister Long didn't just stand there stupidly. His whole body was already covered with dragon scales. The heavenly dragon bloodline in his body was not bad, so he could still burst out a very strong heavenly dragon power. Heavenly Dragon Battle Art. Prime Minister Long looked up to the sky and roared. His power suddenly exploded as he raised his hand and waved his palm. A huge palm fell from the sky and fiercely pressed down on the lightning bolt. When many people saw this palm, their complexion changed because this was the Netherworld Divine Palm. The Netherworld Great Emperor's famous technique was released by Prime Minister Long just like that. This means that Prime Minister Long has a very close relationship with the Netherworld Great Emperor, otherwise, it would be impossible for him to practice the Netherworld Divine Palm. This overbearing palm was much stronger than the one released by the Netherworld Great Emperor's Phantom. This is the real Netherworld Divine Palm. It may be a little weaker than the Netherworld Great Emperor's, but the effect should not be that much worse. A layer of Netherworld aura floated above the huge palm, as if it came from hell, dragging all living creatures into the Netherworld. Boom! The two collided with each other, accompanied by a loud noise. The dazzling energy exploded in the air, and rolled up a wave of air that spread in all directions. Many soldiers with low cultivation were pressed to the ground and couldn't move. Netherworld Divine Palm. You really are a spy of the Netherworld Great Empire. Ren Long roared after seeing this. He didn't think that Prime Minister Long would be a traitor, but he didn't think that Prime Minister Long would be a spy. He didn't think that Prime Minister Long would be a traitor at most. Who would have thought that Prime Minister Long was a spy? Chapter 413. Prime Minister Long's move completely exposed his identity. This was the effect that Tianyun wanted. Although everyone knew that Prime Minister Long might have a relationship with the Netherworld Empire, they didn't know how deep their relationship was. But now, it seemed that Prime Minister Long's relationship with the Netherworld Empire was quite deep. He knew that this identity seemed meaningless, but at least he knew that Prime Minister Long wasn't forced to do this. But he was a big spy. It was not that the Heavenly Dragon Empire was unfair, it was the spy who came to sow discord. This made Prime Minister Long's heart waver. Some of them chose to follow Prime Minister Long, because they were dissatisfied with the current situation of the Ren family, and wanted Prime Minister Long to change everything. However, they didn't expect that Prime Minister Long was a spy, which meant that they would really work for the Netherworld Empire instead of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. They could accept cooperating with the Netherworld Empire, but they didn't want to be ruled by the Netherworld Empire. Originally, they thought that they would ask the Netherworld Empire for help, and then give them some compensation, so that the Heavenly Dragon Empire would still be theirs. Now, it seemed that he was too naive. In the future, the Sky Dragon would be changed to Hades. Suddenly, many of the generals stopped and didn't take the initiative to attack. Prime Minister Long, you lied to us. You are a man of the Netherworld Empire. Didn't you say that you would rebuild the Heavenly Dragon Empire? Yes, you lied to us. We believed that you, as a man of the Heavenly Dragon Empire, would change the status quo. But now, it seems that you are a spy of the Netherworld Empire. I don't want to fight anymore. I surrender. As soon as they were exposed, many generals immediately appeared to surrender. However, what welcomed them was a huge netherworld divine palm. It pressed down fiercely with lightning speed and blasted on the bodies of their own generals. Boom! The generals who chose to surrender were blown away by the explosion. Prime Minister Long looked at them indifferently, and in a blink of an eye, he cleaned up some of the traitors who wanted to surrender. Prime Minister Long didn't expect that he would be forced to use this move. The power of the lightning was too strong. It made him feel a sense of crisis. If he didn't use his strongest attack, he wouldn't be able to resist this move. But who knew that this move would expose him and let the people here know that he was a spy? We're all on the same boat. Those who surrender will die. Do you think that if you surrender, they will still choose to take you back? Prime Minister Long flew to the side, adjusted his aura, and looked at them coldly. Prime Minister Long's words hit their hearts. So what if they surrendered? How could they be put in an important position? Of course, this was impossible. They would never be put in an important position, and would even be monitored. Those who had rebelled would never be placed in an important position again, let alone be trusted. To put it bluntly, everything was over. If he could betray us this time, he could betray us next time. Therefore, we can't put him in an important position. These words were like a bucket of cold water pouring down on them, making their hearts turn cold. It seemed that there was no point in surrendering. If you put down your weapons and choose to surrender, I won't pursue the matter. Renlong's voice resounded through the entire region. He said in a powerful voice, "You are just bewitched by others. I know that you are still thinking for the Heavenly Dragon Empire. So as long as you choose to surrender, I will not pursue any matter with you. I will sincerely accept you back." Of course, Renlong would not let go of this opportunity. How could he not be happy to weaken a lot of their forces? He was indeed willing to accept their surrender, but it was impossible to put them in an important position in the future. However, he would still give them a certain amount of power and not completely banish them. How could this not arouse their hearts of betrayal? He still had to use some means. Renlong's words made many of the surrendered generals happy. Renlong's words were still very credible. Their eyes immediately flashed with hope. They were still willing to surrender. Whoever surrenders, I will be the first to kill him. Prime Minister Long's cold voice resounded through the battlefield, making those who wanted to surrender feel cold in their hearts, not daring to say half a word. Don't worry, you will be the first to die. Yi Tianyan pulled the bowstring to its fullest, aimed at Prime Minister Long and released the Wrath of Ice. A thick ice arrow pierced through and bombarded the Prime Minister Long. He didn't hide his violent power at all. His combat power was as high as 60 million. The whole Ice Divine Bow buzzed as it reached its limit. Tiny cracks appeared on the Ice Divine Bow. If it continues to be used like this, it will be completely destroyed. Because 60 million combat power is already the limit, if it continues to increase, this weapon won't be able to withstand it, so a higher grade Ice Divine Bow is needed. However, 60 million combat power is already quite heaven-defying. Prime Minister Long's face changed. He once again waved his palm, his power erupted to the extreme. He operated the Netherworld Divine Art and Netherworld Divine Palm, fiercely covering this side. His combat power directly exploded to more than 57 million, which can be regarded as his peak power. Xiao! It suddenly pierced through the huge palm and bombarded Prime Minister Long's body. Boom! Prime Minister Long groaned as he was blown away. A large part of his body was frozen, but he quickly released the overbearing power of the Heavenly Dragon, trying to shatter the ice. But at this time his face changed and his face darkened. Dragon Killer Poison. Prime Minister Long's face changed. He didn't expect that his opponent would have Dragon Killer Poison. Yi Tianyan knew that this attack couldn't kill Prime Minister Long in a second. If Prime Minister Long could be killed so easily, he wouldn't be Prime Minister Long. Therefore, he used the Dragon Killer Poison. A lot of Dragon Killer Poison had been dropped before, so he fused it with the Frost Arrow. After hitting it, the poison immediately seeped in and began to suppress Prime Minister Long's power. At this time, a beam of light suddenly rushed from behind him, wrapping around him. Everything happened so suddenly that he didn't know what happened. Unbeknownst to him, Grandmaster had already appeared behind Yi Tianyan and carried out a perfect sneak attack. Not far away, Grandmaster floated in the air and looked over with a cold expression. There are actually two Grandmasters. However, Yi Tianyan disappeared and reappeared behind Grandmaster the next moment. The red dragon divine spear appeared in his hand and pierced towards Grandmaster. Pucci. The red dragon divine spear penetrated Grandmaster's body and lifted him in the air. Chapter 4:14. The Imperial Preceptor's sneak attack turned out to be the one being attacked. This sudden turn of events left many people unable to react. They all thought that Yi Tianyan would be hit, but who would have thought that he would appear behind the Imperial Preceptor and counterattack? They didn't know how he did it. How is this possible? The Imperial Preceptor's eyes were filled with disbelief. The sneak attack had been so smooth and well concealed, but it still failed. Everything was too strange. In the blink of an eye, the enemy had arrived behind him, and even used the red dragon spear to pierce through his body. Yi Tianyan suddenly twisted the red dragon spear in his hand. A violent tyrannical spirit spread in all directions, shattering the Imperial Preceptor into several pieces. However, when he landed on the ground, he discovered that there was no trace of blood, only a few pieces of wood. Puppet art. Puppet art was a very mysterious ability that was linked to divine runes. It could be considered an extension. By carving divine runes on any object and inserting one's soul into it, one would be able to control it. Its strength was inferior to the user's, but it was superior in that it could be controlled at will. Moreover, it had no aura, making it hard to detect. To put it bluntly, the real Imperial Preceptor was still far away, and what Yi Tianyan killed was only a puppet. Puppet art, no wonder I couldn't detect the slightest aura. I almost succeeded in my sneak attack. Yi Tianyan's expression sank. When he was fighting with Long Zai, he didn't sense the approaching puppet at all. He only knew at the instant of the attack. At that time, the puppet had already arranged a grand formation and ruthlessly attacked him. Fortunately, he could teleport, or else he would have been hit. At this moment, the beam of light shot out and enveloped the area in front of them. Wherever it went, everyone was turned into ashes. The key thing was that there was also a sealing power within it. If they were hit by it, they might really be trapped. This power, could it be teleportation? In the distance, the Imperial Preceptor's heart was in a state of extreme shock. His meticulously planned scheme was destroyed just like that. However, his meticulously crafted puppet was destroyed just like that. His heart was bleeding. A tearing sensation came from his head, causing his complexion to turn even paler. Puppets were not easy to make. They required all kinds of precious materials and their own souls to make them. If the puppet died and that bit of soul was destroyed, he would also suffer a certain amount of damage to his soul. And the damage would still be very great. However, compared to the damage, he was more concerned about the teleportation. In an instant he disappeared from where he was, allowing him to see everything clearly. How is this possible? I failed. Prime Minister Long, who was lying on the ground, was also filled with disbelief. He thought that everything went smoothly. As long as they could kill Yi Tianyan easily, everything would be fine. Who would have thought that they would fail? A complete failure. Looks like it's time to end this. Yi Tianyan's eyes turned cold. A black aura was released from his body. In the next moment, he turned into a 100-meter-long evil dragon and charged forward. The sudden change shocked everyone. When an even larger evil dragon appeared, it was as if the sky had been blocked from everyone's view, causing the entire area to be pitch black. So far, except for Ren Long, no one had seen him transform into this huge evil dragon. Therefore, when Ren Jiro saw Yi Tianyan transform into this evil dragon, she was deeply shocked, and her beautiful eyes widened. Their attacks paused for a moment, but they soon resumed their attacks, resisting the incoming enemies. Roar! Yi Tianyan let out a deafening dragon roar, and pounced on Prime Minister Long, who was lying on the ground poisoned. With a flip of his dragon claw, he pressed it down on Prime Minister Long. The huge dragon claw was like a falling meteorite, stirring up waves of air in all directions, completely locking him in place, making it impossible for him to escape. Prime Minister Long's face turned pale, and he hurriedly climbed up to escape. After being poisoned by the dragon-slaying poison, his strength had been greatly reduced, and he was also hit by Yi Tianyun's attack. "State Preceptor, save me!" Prime Minister Long shouted in horror. His previous majesty had disappeared. Facing the fear of death, Prime Minister Long could only put down his pride and call for help. In the next moment, the Imperial Preceptor flew over, and threw a few divine inscriptions at the incoming dragon claw. A large array quickly appeared in the air, and in the blink of an eye, it formed a huge barrier that enveloped the surroundings. Bang! When Yi Tianyun's dragon claw pressed down, it was slightly blocked. His huge dragon eyes flashed with a cold light. Break! Bang! The dragon claw pressed down, and the indestructible shield was forcibly crushed. Then the dragon claw continued to press down, and in less than a second, the seemingly sturdy shield was crushed just like that. It's not that the shield is too weak, but Yi Tianyun is too strong. When he goes all out, his combat power is as high as 78 million, which is the limit of his current combat power without burning his blood essence. This power is enough to crush everything, including the State Preceptor. He didn't want to continue to drag the battle. After exploring the real situation, he used his strongest state to suppress the enemy, officially ending the battle. The State Preceptor's face changed. The divine runes he threw out didn't even last for a breath of time. This power exceeded his expectations. However, he had already arrived at Prime Minister Long's side, hugged him, and quickly flew to the side. But the dragon claw has already covered them, and they can't escape this attack range at this moment. "Open for me!" The State Preceptor roared, and his whole body burst with golden light. The clothes that were originally covering his body suddenly turned into ashes, and then countless divine runes appeared on his body. Every divine rune shone with golden light, instantly activating this power. After stimulating the potential of all the divine runes, the power quickly increased, and the power suddenly exploded. A large part of his body swelled up, and his whole body doubled in size. From the original height of 1.8 meters, he suddenly became more than 3 meters tall, like a small giant. The swollen muscles looked very terrifying, but also very powerful. A long blade appeared in his hand, more than 3 meters long, and the thick blade was also engraved with divine runes. The long blade of the high-grade sacred tool appeared in his hand. He suddenly looked up, and his eyes were also branded with golden divine runes. He immediately held the long blade and swung it up. God break! Accompanied by a roar, a phantom of a martial god appeared behind him, holding a domineering long blade in his hand, and waved the long blade in his hand. A blade light that was more than 10 meters long swept over like a bright moon. The domineering blade light burst out with energy that can cut through the void. Chapter 4:15. The domineering blade chi was like a sword slashed by the martial god, cutting through the sky. This can be said to be the Imperial Preceptor's full strength, layer upon layer, as high as 84 million combat power. It is really amazing. How can a full body of divine tools and divine runes be weak? Devour the heavens. Yi Tianyun didn't intend to dodge at all. He continued to press down with his dragon claw. A huge black hole appeared on his palm, devouring the energy in front of him. But the power that erupted from the Imperial Preceptor was too strong. He couldn't devour it at all. He could only devour a little bit of energy. The rest continued to slash upwards. Finally, the two clashed head-on. The domineering blade light rushed over, and collided with the dragon claw that he pressed down. It made a ga sound, like the sound of metal colliding with metal. It was very ear-piercing. Yi Tianyun felt a tingling pain in his hand. The blade chi was about to break his defense, but he still pressed down, trying to crush the blade chi. It's just that this power is a lot stronger than his current strength. Even if his defense is amazing, he can't easily suppress it. When he wanted to burn his blood essence, a crisp sound rang in his ear. Bing! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to the peak of core transformation stage. At this moment, his battle power suddenly soared from 78 million to 85 million. Just one level increased his combat power by 6 million. From the 9th level of core transformation stage to the peak of core transformation stage, his combat power increased by 750,000. Then under the 8 times crazy mode, it instantly became 6 million. Superimposed on the original combat power, it became 5 million, completely overshadowing the Imperial Preceptor's attack. Explode for me. Boom. Tianyun squeezed the blade chi with his dragon claw fiercely, and the blade chi was crushed by him, turning into a little starlight. But because of this buffering force, the Imperial Preceptor had already escaped to the side with Prime Minister Long. When he saw this scene, his heart trembled. Such a domineering move was crushed just like that, only leaving a slightly deep scar on the dragon claw. The whole dragon claw was not cut in half. It can be seen that the Imperial Preceptor has a strong defense. The effect of the evil dragon equipment set's 20-fold increase in defense was no joke, especially with the increase in his cultivation. If his cultivation didn't increase, and his dragon god bloodline didn't strengthen, then the effect of 20 times wouldn't be very meaningful. This was like saying that if one's defense was only 1 point, then 20 times would be 20 points. It was completely meaningless. Hence, the reason why he was able to withstand this attack was largely due to Tianyun's improvement in cultivation. If his cultivation was slightly lower in the past, he would have been sliced into 2. As expected of the Imperial Teacher, I'm afraid that his strength is comparable to an ordinary 7th or 8th level Void Spirit stage expert. Tianyun turned his head to look at the Imperial Teacher, and his heart was filled with shock. Fighting someone of a higher cultivation realm required a wide variety of techniques. If one continued to stack up their techniques, their strength would increase significantly. Therefore, his initial judgment was the most inaccurate. If he didn't have more than 10 million battle power, then he would only be able to burst out 20 to 30 million battle power. If he burst out with all his battle power, it might even reach more than 50 to 60 million. For example, if he threw out a large number of sacred tools, how could his combat power not explode? Tianyun was shocked, but the other party was also shocked. In the close combat, the power of the two was immediately revealed, and the power of each other was so overbearing. This strength is too strong. Where did this freak come from? The Imperial Teacher's eyes turned cold, and immediately thought of something. So many Earth Dragons. Could it be that General Long and General Feng were killed by him? On the side, Prime Minister Long's face sank. Of course he knew about this matter. So many Void Spirit stage experts were killed by this expert, and it's very likely that he was the one who killed them. Now that this expert is standing on the side of the Heavenly Dragon Empire, it's very likely that he was sent by the Heavenly Dragon Empire to help them. I didn't expect your Heavenly Dragon Empire to have such a trump card. This is our mistake. The Imperial Teacher's eyes turned cold. Everyone retreat. The Imperial Teacher had no choice but to retreat. Prime Minister Long was poisoned, and his battle power was tied with the Imperial Teacher, which meant that they lost. A draw is equal to a loss, especially for the attacking side. The other side has a dragon and a Heavenly Dragon secret treasure, so how can they win? They have no choice but to retreat. Under the command of the Imperial Teacher, all the soldiers quickly retreated, turned around and ran away. It can be said that they can't run away as fast as they can. The soldiers who rushed out of the Imperial Teacher's camp were in a killing frenzy. Throw away your weapons. Don't kill those who kneel on the ground. Those who don't surrender, kill them. Tianyun shouted, indicating that they should not run away, surrender if they can, and kill those who don't. Under the dragon's roar, many soldiers knelt on the ground, threw their weapons to the side, and no longer dared to run away. They don't want to die here. If they surrender, at least they can live, but if they don't surrender, it's really a dead end. Suddenly, a large number of soldiers knelt on the ground, and no longer ran away. This is really a crushing defeat. Especially the words spoken by Tianyun, with absolute majesty, made many people tremble in fear. They have all seen Tianyun's power, so when he spoke he must be afraid, especially the last sentence. No one would doubt that he can't do it. After shouting these words, Yi Tianyan turned his body and quickly chased after them and said coldly, "Did I say you can go?" Letting these two escape is equivalent to letting a tiger return to the mountain. How can I let them escape? With a twist of his body, he instantly chased after them. And his speed is a bit faster than the Imperial teacher, mainly because he has the phoenix wings, which increase his speed more than twice, so naturally he can catch up. Even if he turns into an evil dragon, he can still have the phoenix wings, so there is no conflict. Almost in an instant he caught up with them, opened his huge mouth, and spat out a black beam of light, penetrating forward. Damn it! Imperial Preceptor's face turned ugly as he used the Netherworld Divine Palm, which was much more powerful than Prime Minister Long's attack, but it was still too weak in the face of Yi Tianyan's attack. Yi Tianyan's palm was easily penetrated, and Imperial Preceptor were bombarded with Netherworld Divine Palm. Boom! The two fell from the sky, and with a bang sound, a big pit was created. Then, a figure bounced out of the big pit. It was the Imperial teacher. His body was eroded by the evil dragon Qi, and looked dark. His body flickered with a golden light, as if he had ignited a divine talisman, and covered his whole body. The next moment, his speed increased several times, and he instantly disappeared into the sky, leaving Prime Minister Long behind. Chapter 416. Heavenly Speed Divine Talisman. Yi Tianyan's face sank when he saw the Imperial Preceptor running away. He didn't expect the Imperial Preceptor to have a Heavenly Speed Divine Talisman. Only a Divine Rune Grandmaster can carve it. It can instantly increase the speed by several times. Although it can only last for a short time, it's enough for him to escape. However, this talisman has a big drawback. If it's used to escape, its speed will be reduced by half. Otherwise, the Imperial Preceptor wouldn't have left Prime Minister Long alone. If he continued to stay here, how could he save the Imperial Preceptor? "Brother Long, I will avenge you," the Imperial Preceptor shouted and quickly disappeared into the sky. Before running away, he didn't forget to leave a sentence behind. It seems like they have a good relationship. However, at this critical moment, if he didn't do this, neither of them would be able to escape. After the Imperial Preceptor escaped, the dragon subduing flag that trapped Yi Tianyan's heavenly dragon lost its connection with it and fell to the ground. At this critical moment, the Imperial Preceptor didn't even have the chance to take away his treasures. At this moment, Prime Minister Long was lying in a big pit. His whole body was corroded by the evil dragon's power and the dragon-slaying poison. He couldn't escape at all. Cough, cough, cough. Prime Minister Long coughed violently. Looking at Yi Tianyan falling from the sky, his eyes were filled with despair. I lost. He lost completely. He brought so many helpers, but most of them died here. Now that he couldn't escape, his heart was filled with despair. Yi Tianyan landed on the ground and walked step by step towards Prime Minister Long. He looked at him coldly. I wanted to kill you, but I think it's better to let Brother Ren deal with you. At this time, Ren Long, Ren Jiro, and the others flew over. They were covered in blood, and it was hard to tell if it was theirs or the enemy's. They had killed many generals, so they didn't just stand there and watch. Looking around, there were corpses everywhere, and the ground was dyed red with blood. They won the battle, but there wasn't much joy. Instead, there was pain. After all, most of them were originally from the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Although they were hateful, they were just cannon fodder. Dragon Soul Sky, to think that we treated you like a real uncle. I never thought that you would be a spy. You have caused great harm to our Heavenly Dragon Empire. Ren Long said coldly. Today is the day you die. I will use you as a sacrifice to the heavens, or I will let down all the souls of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Ha ha ha, all of you are too stupid. Cough, 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 kill me. I have lost this time, however, the Netherworld will not let you off. Prime Minister Long coughed up a lot of blood, but he still kept a smile on his face. My biggest mistake was that I misjudged your strength. I didn't expect you to have such a strong foreign aid. Cough, cough, cough. I'm not willing to lose. The Netherworld Empire had so many powerful forces, but they only brought an imperial preceptor with them, but they were all annihilated. Under normal circumstances, bringing the Grand Preceptor to deal with them was already a sign of respect. Who knew that there would be a Tianyin? Knowing one's enemy and oneself was the key to victory, but Prime Minister Long knew nothing about Tianyin. Who would have thought that there would be such a heaven-defying existence? No matter how many calculations he made, he still missed 1 point. Just this 1 point alone was enough to make them lose everything. Rest assured, even if the Netherworld Emperor does not let us off, I will not let him off either. I, Ren Long, swear to the heavens that if I see the people of the Netherworld Empire, I will kill them without mercy. No matter how many come, I will kill them all. I will not accept any surrender. All of you must die. Ren Long was completely furious. The Netherworld Empire's overbearing attitude made them tremble in fear. They even sent a spy to deceive them. After a meticulous plan, he had completely swindled their trust. This was the result, causing the Heavenly Dragon Empire to fall into a crisis, and it had even declined. As Prime Minister Long said, they were stupid. Ren Long admitted that from today onwards, he will strengthen his forces to deal with the Netherworld Empire. Ha, kill as many as you can. What a big tone. The power of the Netherworld Empire is beyond your imagination. Prime Minister Long grinned and laughed. In the face of impending death, he didn't care about his own life anymore. Poochie. A beam of sword light pierced down, piercing his body. It was Ren Long's attack. Don't worry, no matter how powerful the Netherworld Empire is, I will sacrifice my life to become the enemy of the Netherworld Empire. I will kill every last one of my soldiers to resist the Netherworld Empire. Ren Long said coldly as he released the majesty of a great emperor. Then, with a slash to the side, Prime Minister Long's head was completely separated from his body. His eyes were wide open as he died with grievances. Ding. Successfully killed Prime Minister Long. Reward, 64 million EXP 50. 000 CPS 5. 000 SBS. Reward, Netherworld Divine Art, Netherworld Divine Palm. Reward, Dragon God Bloodline 4th grade. Heavenly Dragon Battle Armor, High-grade Sacred Tool. Heavenly Dragon Divine Sword, High-grade Sacred Tool. Heavenly Dragon Battle Boots, High-grade Sacred Tool. Netherworld Sutra Rare. Netherworld Passage Map Rare. A lot of things dropped at once, and the EXP was stacked to the point of exploding, but there was no reward. Obviously, the system felt that Prime Minister Long's cultivation wasn't strong enough, so there was no reward. At this time, the surroundings were very quiet, and a large number of soldiers were looking at them. Clean up the Netherworld Empire's soldiers. Ren Long said coldly. Run. At this time, the Netherworld Empire's soldiers ran away. Even if they weren't the masterminds of the Netherworld Empire, and were just cannon fodder, they still had to be killed. Especially since the Netherworld Empire's soldiers had killed a lot of their people. For a time, screams could be heard, and the large-scale killing continued. But it didn't last long. All the Netherworld Empire's soldiers were cleaned up, and all that was left was a pile of corpses. Ding. Successfully completed. Help the Empire's goddess resist Prime Minister Long's invasion. Reward, 50 million EXP 100. 000 CPS, 50 Imperial Favorability. Reward, successfully killed Prime Minister Long doubled. Ing. Reward, 100 million EXP 2000. 000 CPS, 100 Imperial Favorability. All of a sudden, his stats doubled, and he had accumulated 100 million EXP. In the blink of an eye, he only had a few tens of millions of EXP left to level up. This leveling speed was simply astonishing. At this rate, it wouldn't be difficult to break through to Void Spirit stage. Chapter 417. The war finally calmed down. The Heavenly Dragon Empire had won. This news spread throughout the Heavenly Dragon continent. It even spread to the Heavenly Boundary continent and the Nether continent. They were all shocked. Especially under the leadership of the Imperial Teacher, the Heavenly Dragon Empire and the Netherworld continent were shocked. The Imperial Teacher was the second strongest person in the Netherworld Empire, but he was still defeated. What kind of power did the Heavenly Dragon Empire have? However, there was still a lot of shocking news. For example, there were 3 people who could control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, and one of them could turn into a dragon. The more it spread, the more exaggerated it became. In the end, it was said that there were dozens of people who could control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, and they even had the support of the Dragon Clan. The Heavenly Dragon Empire had become a legend. It was exaggerated to say that the Heavenly Dragon Empire was much stronger than the Netherworld Empire, and that it would be easy for the Netherworld Empire to suppress it. These words were exaggerated enough to make the Netherworld Empire explode in anger. In fact, he was furious. After the Imperial Advisor returned, the Netherworld Emperor was thoroughly enraged. He was 10 times, or even 100 times more furious than before. Little brother Long is dead? The Netherworld Great Emperor was extremely furious. He clenched his fists and his heart was filled with anger. The terrifying power released from his body was the best proof. It could be said that he had suppressed his power to the extreme, and there was still a bit of it leaking out. The ground around him was shaken by this terrifying power, causing cracks to appear and debris to fly. Otherwise, the surrounding area would have exploded from the pressure. The people below were terrified. They hadn't seen the Netherworld Great Emperor so angry in a long time. Yes, it's my fault. The enemy was too strong. I couldn't resist his attack, even if I used all my strength. The Imperial Preceptor's face was pale, and looked even paler than before. Especially from his aura, it was obvious that he was much weaker than before. You couldn't resist him even if you used all your strength? The Netherworld Emperor was surprised. He knew how strong the Imperial Teacher was. If the Imperial Teacher couldn't resist him, it meant that the enemy was much stronger than him. Yes, but it's mostly because I wasn't prepared. I was careless and my soul was injured. Otherwise, I would have brought Brother Long back. The Imperial Teacher was ashamed. He sighed deeply. His eyes were full of shame, but he did try his best. I know. It seems like I have to go personally. The Netherworld Emperor stood up and said angrily, Your Majesty, you can't do this. If you go personally, we will be in chaos. The Imperial Teacher's face changed. But who can avenge Brother Long? Netherworld Great Emperor's eyes are filled with killing intent. He is my younger brother. My younger brother is dead. How can I face him if I don't avenge him? Prime Minister Long was the younger brother of the Netherworld Great Emperor. If this news spread out, it would definitely set off a great uproar. Sending a spy, but it turned out to be the younger brother of the Netherworld Great Emperor. You must suppress it. You are only one step away from obtaining the power of the Nether Dragon. As long as you can obtain this power, the Heavenly Dragon Empire will be a piece of cake. Imperial Preceptor advised. Just a little bit more, Great Emperor, don't be impulsive. Your Majesty, as long as you break through the dragon power, the Netherworld Emperor, the Netherworld will. One by one, the ministers began to persuade the Netherworld Great Emperor to not act rashly. Damn it, Brother Long. The Netherworld Emperor shook his head and said in a deep voice, If Brother Long didn't say that he wanted to bring back the Heavenly Dragon Empire in one piece, I would have personally led the Netherworld army to kill them. Even the Heavenly Dragon Empire can't resist my Netherworld army. Now they were all silent. Prime Minister Long had sneaked in to take down the Heavenly Dragon Empire in one piece. The Netherworld Empire was very strong, but if they conquered the Heavenly Dragon Empire, they would also become half-crippled, which was very disadvantageous to the Netherworld Empire. That was why they came up with this plan. Who knew that an unforeseen event would occur, causing most of them to die there? It was truly shocking. Who would have thought? Everyone thought that their plan was perfect, and they all thought that the Heavenly Dragon Empire didn't have any powerful forces, and they thought that they could conquer it at any time. In reality, a super expert appeared out of nowhere. And it was a super expert who could fight against everyone. We have neglected this point, but this time we will not neglect it. As long as the Great Emperor obtains the power of the Nether Dragon, everything will be fine. Not to mention the Heavenly Dragon Empire, even the surrounding empires will be in your pocket. At that time, you will become a 5th-grade divine kingdom without any pressure. The imperial preceptor's eyes were full of excitement and expectation. Divine Kingdom. The Netherworld Great Emperor's eyes were full of yearning. After reaching the level of Divine Kingdom, they would enter a whole new realm. But they had only heard about this realm, and they didn't know much about it. Because the Divine Kingdom wasn't located in this area, but in the sky. Alright, when we are fully prepared, and when I obtain the power of the Nether Dragon, I will conquer the Heavenly Boundary Continent and the Heavenly Dragon Empire. The Netherworld Great Emperor's eyes were shining with anticipation. While the Imperial Preceptor was planning everything, Tianyan had already cleaned up the corpses outside. The mission here was already completed, and there was no other mission. There is no chain mission? What a pity. Jiro didn't become the Divine Lady. Tianyan frowned. Jiro could only be regarded as a princess. But there was no mission, and it didn't matter whether she was the Divine Lady or not. It was very likely that she would become the Divine Lady in the future, and Renlong would pass the throne to her. Brother Yi, what are you doing here? Renlong walked out of the hall and saw Tianyan standing outside the palace, so he walked over and asked. It's nothing, I'm just here to take a look. Finally, everything is back to normal. Tianyan smiled. Yes, everything is back to normal. I don't know if the Netherworld Great Emperor will personally lead the army here, but no matter how many people come, we will deal with them. Renlong smiled, and his eyes were full of gratitude. If it wasn't for you, we would have fallen. You are really the savior of our Heavenly Dragon Empire. I feel that even without me, the Heavenly Dragon Empire can still hold on, right? Tianyan's eyes flashed. It can still hold on, but there is a price to pay. For example, my life. Renlong smiled and said, if one day I am gone, can you become the great emperor of the Heavenly Dragon Empire? Brother Ren, you can't say such things. How can anything happen to you? Tianyan shook his head. It's hard to say. I'm just saying in advance that you are more qualified to become the great emperor. I don't have the ambition to become the great emperor. I prefer to explore the world without any worries. Renlong looked at Tianyan and said firmly, Brother Yi, can you agree to my request? That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.